second-seeded Harding and third-seeded Lenoir-Rhyne from Spur Security Stadium in Searcy, Arkansas. The first of our two Division II semifinals this afternoon on ESPN+. The second coming up at 3:30 Eastern. Top-seeded Colorado School of Mines and fourth-seeded Kutztown to decide who will play the winner of this game next Saturday in McKinney. With that, we say hello. He's Lige Duzable. I'm Nate Gatter. So glad to have you with us. Lige, obviously, it's no secret Harding wants to do the same thing today that it's done all season, run the football.
Yeah, Nate, this is the flex bone offense, and there's so much onus on the quarterback position to make split-second decisions, whether to give the dive, keep the ball, or pitch it. And they put the onus on the defense to be disciplined each and every play because, Nate, if you're not, they will exploit you. Let's go into the film room real quick. You see this outside linebacker. He gets crack blocked by the tight end. He has to fight over the top. Because he doesn't do that and those two linebackers overrun the gap, you get a massive hole for Chauncey Martin to the house. This is what this Harding flex bone offense does. You'll see on defense, this right defensive end, he's going to slant inside the outside linebacker. He has quarterback responsibility. Again, this safety comes down. He gets crack replaced. The corner has to show up inside. He does it. Another gaping hole for Chauncey Martin. So when you're playing this flex bone offense, you have to be disciplined, play in and play out, no matter how boring your job is. Do your job or you will get exploited.
But they're facing one of the best rushing defenses in the country, as we noted.
And we talked about defense. That's exactly what this Lenoir-Rhyne defense is. They are disciplined. And it starts with the boogeyman right there, number 32, Andre Jefferson. 4 tackles for loss last week. Him and Rashad Yelding make one of the best defensive tackle combos in all of Division II. They will be massive against this flex bone offense. And also the secondary, right, on perimeter runs. They are a physical group. They will be big and trying to slow down some of these slot backs on perimeter runs.
Harding and Lenoir-Rhyne ready to go after a rainy night. The skies have cleared for the moment, and we are underway in the national semifinals. Bouncing kick taken at the 10. De'Ari Rogers gets a block across the 35. 2 flags come in, and he's planted at the 42-yard line as it stands, but 2 markers are down back around the 30-yard line. And we'll hear for the first time from our referee, Chris Glass.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 9, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
That's Devin Hibbett, who was called for the hold, and it'll back it up around the 20. Ulrich Walker Jr. made the tackle for Harding. And here comes this Lenoir-Rhyne offense led by Sean White. They've used 2 quarterbacks this year, but White has played great down the stretch.
Yeah, when we talked to the coaching staff about Sean White, they said earlier in the year they felt like he wasn't playing up to the standard. Jalen Ferguson took over. But after that Wingate game, right, he really caught fire. Had a 400-yard performance earlier this year in the playoffs. And then right after that, versus Benedict, another 300-yard performance.
Offense, number 66, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Shane Wells, the first-team All-South Atlantic right tackle, called for the false start before the opening snap of the game.
And think about Sean White, Nate. They'll use him in the run game, right? They use him on quarterback power, also some zone read. This is a guy that has enough mobility to hurt you with his legs.
Handoff goes on the first play to Dwayne McGee, the big-time running back for Lenoir-Rhyne, but he is spun down in the backfield. Nathaniel Wallace was the first man there for Harding.
Yeah, right there. If you're Sean White, that's the one you have to keep on the zone read. Nathaniel Wallace has dive responsibility. This is a guy that's one of the best players, if not the best player on this Harding team. He crashes down off the edge to get McGee for a tackle for loss.
White to throw on second down, over the middle. It's complete to Keelan Parsons, who gets back to the 21. Call it a gain of 8. Still going to be third down and long for Lenoir-Rhyne.
That's a nice job by Sean White going through his progressions, being able to find Parsons over the middle of the field in zone coverage because it was 2nd and 18. You want to get at least half of that back, some of that penalty yardage back to set up a third and manageable.
White threw for only 51 yards last week. Lenoir-Rhyne only tried 15 passes in a downpour in the Bears' 35-7 win over Valdosta State on the road. 3rd and 9. White has time, goes to the sideline, knocked away, incomplete. Ty Duggar, first team All-GAC safety, made the play.
And Ty Duggar is a playmaker from that safety position. They love him. He is Harding legacy, right? His mom played basketball here. His dad actually played football with Coach Simmons here. So this guy constantly makes plays in that back end. He's the communicator in the back end and also a really good special teams player for this Harding team.
Stuart Simmons, the true freshman punter, is on to kick it away for Lenoir-Rhyne after a 3 and out. The aforementioned Duggar is at his own 40 to return. Wobbling spiral kick. Duggar calls for the fair catch and gets blown up. Lenoir-Rhyne is the much sloppier team from a penalty yardage standpoint, and we've seen it already. This is the 3rd penalty against the Bears in just the opening 81 seconds.
Kick catch interference. Kicking team, number 38. 15-yard penalty, first down.
I believe that's Royce Turner. He has to be smart there. I believe he had his head down, Nate. Didn't see the last-minute fair catch signal by Ty Duggar. But you talked about it already. Lenoir-Rhyne, 2 massive penalties. You had a big return negated by a penalty. And now you got Harding already on plus side of the field because of a penalty on a fair catch interference.
Cole Keelan, just a sophomore in his 25th start. 22-2 as the Bison starter.
Yeah, Cole Keelan, is so much responsibility for him as far as reading what the defense is doing. Right there, gives the ball to De La Cruz, right? Because this Harding team, they want to pound on you within the line of scrimmage, right? 3 or 4 yards, 3 or 4 yards. And as soon as you get frustrated, Nate, you jump out of your gap, that's when the explosive plays happen.
4 yards for De La Cruz, who has been the workhorse in the playoffs. Carried the ball 28 times in the 7-6 win for Harding in this stadium last Saturday over Grand Valley. Paul Simmons called Grand Valley the best team to have ever played on this field against Harding. The Bison's able to survive after they trailed 6-0 late in the game. Again, De La Cruz, and he gets inside the 30 down to the 29, another 3 yards. John Ross May has made each of the first 2 tackles for Lenoir-Rhyne. The aforementioned Paul Simmons in his 7th season, and he's got a really good football team.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's been coaching here since 2006 and also played here, so he's legacy as well. And you'll notice that on this coaching staff, right? Everybody believes in this program. A lot of the coaches, mainly most of the coaches, all played here at Harding.
That was Jefferson, who jumped into the neutral zone, but Hardy didn't snap it. Andre Jefferson, Lenoir-Rhyne's all-time leader in sacks for his career. Pitch goes on the motion to Jalen Spicer, who gets the first down inside the 25. And Harding moves the chains for the first time today. Malik Taylor makes the tackle. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Bisons at the 23.
And this is where Harding is very comfortable, Nate. 3rd and 3 situations, right? Because all they know, if they get into 4-down territory, and we talked to Coach, Simmons about this, once they cross that 40-yard line, they're probably going to go for it on 4th down. So if they have anything less than 3 yards, they're going to go for it. Right there, nice pitch on the outside to Jalen Spicer. This is a guy for his career, averages over 10 yards a carry.
Erickson, the tight end, in there. It's a design keeper for Keelan, and he has a crease down to the 16-yard line. A healthy pickup of 7 yards on 1st down.
Yeah, we talked about Cole Keelan reading the defensive guy at the end of the line of scrimmage. He sees that the end is outside, so he ducks up under and gets 7 yards and gets a nice positive run on 1st down.
2nd down and 3, more than comfortable for Harding. De La Cruz hit around the 10 and falls forward for a gain of 6. Darius Kelly, the defensive back, made the tackle. Another Bison's 1st down, and it's 1st and goal.
And you'll see this theme with De La Cruz. He's not the biggest guy, Nate. He's about 195, but he always keeps his legs turning. I rarely see him on film getting knocked backwards. You saw it right there.
Yeah, a lot of this is about leverage rather than size, right?
Correct, and at 5'8", 195 pounds, he has a low center of gravity and has strong legs. So you'll see him, he'll get upwards to 20-something carries, but he gets the dirty yards for this Harding team. Keelan
keeps it, runs into May around the 7, call it a gain of 3, 2nd and goal.
And hey, this is what I'm talking about with split-second decisions, right? Right there, he fakes the dive to De La Cruz, but he's supposed to get on the edge, but the gap opened up in the B gap, so he essentially uses De La Cruz as a lead blocker there and gets positive yards.
And watch out for Keelan down in this area of the field. He has 9 rushing touchdowns in the last 5 games, including the only touchdown for either team a week ago in that 7-6 Harding win. De La Cruz breaks a tackle, and May plants him at the 3. A big 3rd down and goal coming up for the Bisons.
And right there, I believe that was John Rice May, who had an opportunity at De La Cruz in the backfield. The thing is, when you're this Lenoir-Rhyne defense, you want to get some tackles for losses because you want to keep Harding behind the sticks. If they're in 2nd and 5 and 2nd and 6 and 2nd and 3, that's exactly where they want to be. You want to make them uncomfortable and get them in 3rd and long situations.
Jay was in motion just to see if Lenoir-Rhyne would commit. Harding started this opening drive at the +36. It's 3rd and goal. De La Cruz, did he get the goal line? No, he's just short.
I think he's on the inch, like half yard line.
Andre Jefferson made the stop. It'll be 4th and goal from a true inches away from the goal line.
And they're already signaling in. I already talked about it earlier, Nate, right? When they cross that 50, and they're in 4-down territory essentially every single time, especially on the half-yard line. This is all about leverage. Who is going to get lower?
Keyline, sneak. Did he get in? The officials run in. Touchdown. Cole Keyline's 10th rushing touchdown in his last 6 games, and on 4th and goal, Harding caps it with 6.
Yeah, that's a good job by the offensive line up front, getting lower than their defensive tackles. You saw Andre Jefferson and Rashad Yelding. They kind of went over the top, but in that scenario, Nate, the low man wins. Right there, Cole Keyline, quarterback sneak. He just needs a sliver of a space to get into the end zone. That's a great job by him, hurrying up, getting to the line of scrimmage, and also by the offensive line, creating that leverage to spring their quarterback for a touchdown.
Ennis tacks on the extra point, and it's 7-0 Harding midway through the opening quarter. A Bison's kind of drive. There was a flag on the extra point.
Offside. Defense, number 5. A penalty decline. Try is good.
Count the extra point for Harding. The Bisons took over at the Lenoir-Rhyne 36 and made the Bears pay. 9 plays, 36 yards, all on the ground. And the hosts are up early. Plenty of reasons for excitement already at First Security Stadium in Searcy, where the home team got a 3-and-out and then a quick 36-yard touchdown drive. Meanwhile, Mike Jacobs in his 4th season now at Lenoir-Rhyne has his work cut out for him with what he's seen so far, Lige.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about it. Penalties have plagued this Lenoir-Rhyne team early already. 3 penalties, I believe, for 35 yards. One that was really crucial was on that return, because it wasn't just the penalty, it was the return yards you lost. But let's get into these do's and don'ts for Lenoir-Rhyne, right? Establish the run game. You got to continue to get Dwayne McGee and Xavion Turner-Knox involved in the run game. We kind of talked about this earlier. Playing this flex bone offense from Harding, possessions will be at a premium. We already saw Harding score on their first drive. So you got to establish the run to mitigate some of those possessions for Harding. And the first don't get bored doing your job and being disciplined. When you're playing this flex bone offense, you got to be disciplined against
Leapak, onside kick, and Leapak recovered it. Magnus Leapak went to the surprise onside kick, and Harding got on top of it. Zach O'Day recovered it just after it went 10 yards. What about that? What a call by Paul Simmons.
You talked about it. What a call. Kind of reminds me of when the New Orleans Saints did it at a half in the Super Bowl, right? You just scored. The last thing Lenoir-Rhyne is thinking, onside kick. So great job by Coach Simmons being aggressive there, trying to steal another possession away. Let's see if this Lenoir-Rhyne defense can respond.
Perfect execution. That's Luke Martin on the block, and O'Day and Leapak both there for the recovery.
And that was the pivotal block, right? Because the kicker didn't even get touched right there. So that was executed perfectly. We talked about, having discipline when you're playing this flex bone team. If you're Lenoir-Rhyne, right now, if you're Harding, man, you're playing with discipline and you're executing at an extensionally high level.
Harding will take over this time from its own 46. Excellent field position on each of the 2 Bison's drives. Keyline keeps it, finds a pitch man, Omar Sinclair, who goes to the outside and lunges into Lenoir-Rhyne territory. Malik Taylor makes the stop after a gain of 5.
And what a read by Cole Keyline, right? Nice job by Andre Jefferson inside, taking the dive away from De La Cruz. He pulls the ball, gets on the edge on the option, and as soon as the guy that had quarterback responsibility came, he pitched it off to Omar Sinclair for another 3 or 4 yards.
You can see the depth in these slot backs. They call them the A-backs on either side for Harding. Offensive coordinator Kenny Wheaton said maybe the deepest, most talented group they've had since that 2017 team that went to the national championship, and they just swapped out the pair that were in there on the first drive. 2nd and 5 for the 49. De La Cruz up the middle. De La Cruz breaks a tackle. De La Cruz inside the 25. Percy King got him from behind to the 23-yard line. A big chunk for De La Cruz, and Harding moving again.
Connor Lecheski, he came inside, but he missed the block. That was a nice block by Jake Duggar to spring De La Cruz there. And we talked about it earlier. De La Cruz, not the biggest guy, right? But you're not going to arm tackle this guy because of the low center of gravity and how strong his legs are.
Put him at the 22, a gain of 27 yards for De La Cruz, who often has to grind it out in there. Only 78 yards on his 28 carries against Grand Valley a week ago. Keelan keeps it, gets a good block on the outside from Sinclair, and goes down to the 16-yard line on a gain of 7 before the tackle by Chris Brown.
Let's get into the do's and don'ts for Harding, right? Stay out of 3rd and long situations. They've done a masterful job at doing that. This Harding offense is the flexbone offense. They're built to stay in 3rd and manageable, so you don't want to be behind the chains if you're this Harding offense. And then don't allow Lenoir D tackle. Don't allow Lenoir-Rhyne D-tackle Andre Jefferson to wreak havoc in the game. Last week versus Dawson State, 4 tackles for loss. He is their impact player on defense, so you got to account for him.
2nd and 3. Counter action, gets it out to Chauncey Martin. He spins out of a tackle at the 15, and May finally slings him to the ground at the 14. Martin got an extra yard. It'll be 3rd down and short.
And we talked about this earlier, right? When you're frustrated playing this flexbone offense, you can't try to do too much. Percy King did a really good job reading that play, getting outside, but you saw him try to strip the ball away. While he did that, right, Martin was still driving his legs. You talked about it, got an extra 2 yards there. So you can't do that if you're on defense for Lenoir-Rhyne. Do your responsibility. Even though it gets frustrating, you got to continue to work and be disciplined.
3rd down and 2. Keelan, keeper all the way, and he's down to the 10. Tackled by Malik Taylor, who has been active on this drive, but Harding moves the chains again. It almost feels inevitable. Must be really disheartening for a defense.
Yeah, we talked about it. It's frustrating at times, right? 3 yards here, 4 yards there, but if you don't do your job, right, you'll give up the explosive play. And this is a nice job by the left side of the offensive line. Landon Ray and Hunter Willis, they have been caving the right defensive side of Lenoir-Rhyne. They escort Cole Keelan there for a 1st down.
What can Lenoir-Rhyne do to create a negative play?
So if your defensive coordinator, Sean Chafee, you might want to get some movement up front, right? Try to get them second guessing, but
De La Cruz from 10 yards out, easy as you like, and Harding has a 2-score lead on the board.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe have some movement up front, but the only thing is when you have movement up front, if everybody's not on the same page and guys are out of their gap, things like that happen where De La Cruz comes downhill. Right there, they do get Andre Jefferson moving. They pull around Austin Toller right there, and De La Cruz walks into the end zone untouched.
Nobody in Division II has made more extra points than Grant Ennis. And he's tacked on 2 already in the opening 10 minutes today in Searcy. What a start for Harding. A 3-and-out for Lenoir-Rhyne, a touchdown, an onside kick, and De La Cruz makes it 14-0 Bisons. How about the facilities here in Searcy, Arkansas? Huckabee Fieldhouse. There are a lot of Division I schools that would love to practice somewhere like this.
I mean, this kind of looks like UCF's indoor facility. I mean, for a Division II school, we kind of walked by it earlier today. Nate, it is masterful, the job they did with this indoor field here at Harding.
It was built by the Brotherhood. Almost 250 donations from former Harding players who came together to make this happen. Look at the school profile of Harding University. Well, it was Harding College back then. Yeah. Restored football in 1959 in the NAIA, been Division II since the 90s. Had an opportunity to go to the Division II National Championship game for the first time in school history. Lenoir-Rhyne playing a little bit different kick return look here after the surprise onside.
They would try it again, would they, Nate?
Leapak kicks it long. It's a line drive that will be easily returnable and taken across to the far side by Rogers, where he's tripped up across the 25. Good coverage by Andrew Miller to get him at the 27. Let's look back, Leger, at that touchdown for Harding.
Yeah, we talk about doing your responsibility. I talked about how Toller, the right guard, pulled around. You get a down block. If you're the safety, Malik Taylor, who is their best run-fitting safety, he just slips and falls. We talked about weather earlier. I went out on that field. That turf is a little slick. Right there, he overruns it, slips and falls. De La Cruz walks into the end zone untouched.
Another Bears false start, and this was on the perimeter.
False start, offense, number 13, 5-yard penalty, first down.
1st and 15. What's the thought process now for Lenoir-Rhyne?
Yeah, Nate, if you're Lenoir-Rhyne, yeah, it's still early in this game. Yes, you are down 14 points, but you don't need to just start throwing the ball all around the yard. I talked about it earlier in the do's and don'ts. They got to get this run game going with McGee and Turner Knox, right, because they both went over 100 last week. Slow this game down, right? Get everybody comfortable into the game. Right here is a run play I think is very smart. Dwayne McGee gets about 5 yards. But again, you don't want it to drop back and pass because you got Wallace and Hall. These two defensive ends will get after you, and the last thing you need to be in is 3rd and long situations.
Not the first 10 minutes Mike Jacobs envisioned. That was just the 4th offensive snap for Lenoir-Rhyne, and his Bears are already down 14-0.
And that's why running the ball is so imperative, right? Because you got to maintain possessions, because with the way that this flex-bone offense is run, you're only probably going to get 7 or 8 possessions the whole game, Nate.
Quickly to the outside, here's Rogers, who's great in space. Harding closes it down and gang tackles at the 28. Ty Duggar was leading the charge. Zach Strickland in there as well. Lenoir-Rhyne has had to win 3 games to get here, Harding just 2. This is the 3rd straight game on the road for the Bears, but they've been pretty comfortable in the playoffs so far, and including that win against Benedict, one of the best defenses in Division II, when they put up 35 points.
Yeah, Coach Jacobs said he didn't mind going on the road. He felt like it was less distractions for his team, and they responded really well. He was like, they've been on bus rides going everywhere. This week they actually were able to get on the plane. So he felt like his team would be ready for this challenge today against Harding.
3rd and 8. White connects for the first down with Sanga Yates out to the 43. Yates was away from the team last year, but he's been a big part of the Bears offense this season, including an explosive November.
Yeah, that was a nice job by Sanga Yates, just hooking up with his quarterback in zone coverage. Right there, they run the receiver down the middle of the field, and Griffin has to run with him. It kind of puts him out of position. Nice pitch and catch, and a major first down just to hold on to some possession for Lenoir-Rhyne.
White's well protected. White going deep into single coverage for Yates, who's got it inside the 20. Sanga Yates, between the regular season finale of the first couple of playoff games, had 14 catches for almost 300 yards and 6 touchdowns, and he's made by far the biggest impact for Lenoir-Rhyne in this first quarter.
Yeah, does a lot of his work in the slot there on the outside, one-on-one with a safety. Actually had him in the slot, ran a slot fade versus Ty Duggar.
White on a busted play, slung down in the backfield and sacked. Clark Griffin, the transfer from Alabama, first team All-Great American Conference, got to him. Didn't look like White and his receivers were on the same page.
And this guy plays with extreme effort, Nate. He's coming down on a play-action blitz. Sean White doesn't like what he sees. He was trying to get it to his receiver, DeAndre Lester. Looks like he was double covered, holds the ball. Griffin gets a big sack for this Harding defense.
Move it back to the 20. 2nd and 16. White to the perimeter. Dangerous throw. Pulled in out of the backfield by Brett Childers, the tight end, or rather John Godwin, I should say, the tight end.
Yeah, it looked like Orrick Walker was about to undercut that and potentially go the other way. You talked about it, Nate. One thing you cannot be if you're Sean White is late and outside. Orrick Walker almost made him pay for that one.
3rd down and very long now for Lenoir-Rhyne, but White has to protect the points at minimum. White to throw, well protected. White to the end zone for Yates, who went down in a collision with Duggar, but Duggar had his eyes on the football, and the officials are going to let him play.
Yeah, that's nice. I believe that's a nice no call. He tries to find Yates in the back of the end zone. Again, right there with Ty Duggar. Let's see. I think that's a good no call. Looks like their feet kind of got tangled up. Ty Duggar does get his head around to the football, and that's actually a nice throw by Sean White. Either put that in the back of the end zone where only your receiver can make a play to make sure you secure this field goal attempt.
True freshman kicker Jake Brown hasn't made a field goal since October. And it's blocked. Another block kick for Harding. Ball still loose and bounds out of bounds near the 20. Ty Duggar got through to block it. That's a 5th straight field goal miss for Lenoir-Rhyne. There is a flag down on the play.
And Nate, I talked about how Ty Duggar is actually a really good special teams player as well, right? He's also their punt returner, has done a really good job already inserting himself on defense, but a great job getting a block right there. You talked about it. There's been some struggles for this Lenoir-Rhyne offense, more specifically the kicking game. They missed a chip shot last week.
On the kicking team, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Loss of down. First down, Harding. Number 70 for Lenoir-Rhyne. His helmet came off during the play and must leave the game for 1 down.
Ty Duggar came flying through to turn it back. Lenoir-Rhyne still denied a chance to get first points. It'll be Harding football at the 37 when we get back. Watch the right side of the picture. Ty Duggar comes through unblocked.
Yeah, if you're 75 right there, your responsibility is to step inside, and that's Ruben Joseph, and punch with the right arm. What he does is he grabs the defensive end. Ty Duggar doesn't even get blocked. That's the one guy on field goal block that you have to block. And then, to your point, Nate, right, the kicker didn't know what to do, so he just kicks the ball afterwards.
And Jake Brown was in a tough spot there, and he got a 10-yard penalty for illegally kicking a loose football. So Harding will take over at its own 37, which is actually the Bison's worst field position of the day so far. Keelan fakes the pitch. He's going to put it in the air for the first time, and his throw skips in at the feet of his intended receiver, Roland Wallace.
Yeah, this is a team that doesn't throw the ball quite often. Only 3 pass attempts last week versus Grand Valley State. But we kind of talked to the coaches about this, right? When we were talking to Coach Sean Chafee, we're like, who's responsible for that one slot back that decides to run up the field and go down the middle of the field right there? Harding tries to catch Lenoir-Rhyne sleeping and pass the ball. But if I'm, Harding, I'm going to continue to pound the rock, right? They haven't stopped you yet doing it.
De La Cruz up the middle. De La Cruz is loose again. Blake De La Cruz in a foot race inside the 20, and he's knocked out of bounds. One big gain after another for De La Cruz, who's having himself a first quarter.
I mean, the flexbone offense puts you in such a bind, Nate, right? If you have one misstep, right, you don't read correctly, if you're not disciplined, right, you see Nance right there, number 0, Zeke Nance, he falls on his face, which allows the offensive tackle to move up to the next level. So right there, that one tackle blocked 2 people. That's a 2-for-1. That's why they put you at such a bind, because if you fire out low, the offensive tackle can olay you and work to the next level.
45 yards for De La Cruz, who already has 8 carries for 99 yards. Keelan keeps it all the way, going behind Andrew Miller, one of the backup B-backs, and he's inside the 15 and then thrown down by May at the end of the play. No call. Alvin James, the safety, made the stop, but Keelan had already got down to the 11 to set up second down and short.
Yeah, a little frustration right there from John Rice May. Just understanding it's been tough for this Lenoir-Rhyne defense because they haven't been able to actually get off the field on 3rd down.
Pair of first quarter touchdowns for Harding. Handoff goes to Miller, who bowls ahead inside the 10. The ball came out. The Bears say they have it. No signal from the referees. Yes, they have it. What a big turn of events that could be. Rashad Yeldon came up with it, one of those interior defensive linemen we highlighted at the outset. And with Harding knocking on the door of a 20-point lead, Lenoir-Rhyne has it back.
Nate, that couldn't have came at a bigger time, right? You talk about this Lenoir-Rhyne defense that has struggled all day getting off the field. The offensive line from Harding does a really good job. They're actually getting a nice little push. Can't see who really punched that out at the end. We'll see on this angle right here. I think it was John Rice may have got a hand on it. And Yeldon, nice job being at the right place, right time, falling on the football. Big turnover for this Bears defense.
1st and 10 for the Bears. McGee gets it, bounces outside, strung out all the way to the boundary, and McGee is swallowed up after a minimal game, if anything. That carry for Andrew Miller was the first carry that's gone to a dive back other than De La Cruz the entire playoffs. He had carried the ball every time out of that B-back spot the first 2 games in the playoffs and the first 8 carries today. The first carry that goes to one of his younger backups,
That's
it's Andrew Miller. First quarter. And he put the ball on the ground. Could that come back to haunt Harding? Lenoir-Rhyne forces a big turnover, but it was still all Bisons in the opening quarter. They lead it by 14-0 here in Searcy. Lenoir-Rhyne head coach Mike Jacobs enjoyed a nice career at Ohio State, late 90s to 2001 as an offensive lineman and long snapper. I know you like that neck roll.
Oh, yeah. Look at the big hoss getting downfield, getting a block. Is he getting a block or maybe a tackle? Maybe he was long snapping on punt right there because it looked like Purdue had the ball.
Yeah, he's just making plays.
Making plays left or right.
It's a school profile on Lenoir-Rhyne. Made the trip from Hickory, North Carolina yesterday. Said his players were excited to have a flight instead of an 8-hour bus trip. Can understand why. 2nd and long for the Bears. White from his own goal line goes to the flat for McGee. Makes a move in the backfield. Breaks a couple of tackles. And Dwayne McGee with a burst close to a first down. They're going to mark him out of bounds at the 16. It'll be 3rd and short.
And that's rare because they usually don't throw the ball to Dwayne McGee that much, right? I believe he only has 7 receptions on the year. But the thing about him, even though he's not the biggest guy, 5'8", 180, great contact balance. You rarely see the first guy bring him down. You saw that. Just easy throw to the flat, makes a couple guys miss, gets them in 3rd and manageable.
Gone over 200 twice this year, 3 times in his career. He gets it on 3rd down. He's tripped up in the backfield. Lenoir-Rhyne will have to punt after Devontae Manning got in there to make the tackle.
Yeah, interesting call right there by offensive coordinator Anthony Soto. Maybe they felt like because it was a light box, and when I say light box, only 6 guys in the box to stop the run. But a nice job by defensive coordinator Rodney Moe. He sends a line stunt to the left where actually Dwayne McGee was running. They get him for a tackle for loss, and they force Lenoir-Rhyne to punt the football.
Simmons a step inside his own goal line for the punt. Ty Duggar standing at his own 45 to return. It's a low kick, takes a Bears bounce around midfield, but Harding will start for the 2nd time already in Lenoir-Rhyne territory when we get back. Big lead for Harding, and the hometown Bisons getting the football as well. They've done it shockingly with the run in the first quarter, like everybody saw coming. But we told you at the outset of the show, this is a really good Lenoir-Rhyne run defense, but those stats weren't against the flex ball.
Exactly. You look at what De La Cruz has done today, Nate, right? 99 yards and only 8 carries, had that big 45-yard run. But the thing we were talking about during the break, the field position, right? If you look at this Harding offense, they've started around midfield for their field position. If you look at Lenoir-Rhyne, they started at their own 19. So complementary football, offense, defense, special teams. Harding has hit on all 3. Lenoir-Rhyne has struggled in that department.
Harding put the ball in the air only once in the opening quarter. Cole Keelan incompletion intended for Roland Wallace. Martin and Sinclair are the A-backs. De La Cruz goes over 100 yards on his first carry. Gets it to the 44, where Deshaun Whitmire made the tackle. Leading rusher this year, De La Cruz for Harding. Now over 1,250 yards on the season.
And these possessions are of utmost important, right? If you're Lenoir-Rhyne, you're able to get a turnover deep in the red zone last time. Let's see if they can get another stop to get their offense back on the field.
Keelan fakes to De La Cruz, has a first down, and stumbles inside the 35 to move the chain to the Lenoir-Rhyne 34-yard line.
And we talked about it on the onside, right? If you're Cole Keelan, you have to do a great job of reading the mesh, understanding, should I give it to De La Cruz? Should I keep it on the edge? And when to pitch it and not when to pitch it. He does a good job understanding. They crash down for the fullback dive right there. He gets on the edge and decides, you know what, I'm just going to turn it up the field. No need to put the football at risk and try to pitch it late.
Coaches rave about him. Kenny Wheaton, the offensive consultant who calls the plays, said there were other guys in consideration for his spot when they were recruiting him, but ultimately what they loved about him is he's just a winner. He's tough. He does the right things. Speaking of tough, De La Cruz, who Wheaton said has the best work ethic of any kid he's ever been around, takes it down to the 25. That'll be 2nd and 1. Kenny Wheaton has been running the system since 1979. Ronnie Huckabee, the legendary Harding head coach, after whom that field house is named, transitioned to the Flexbone in 2010. Coach Simmons was on the staff at the time. He said, "Coach, no, don't do it."
He definitely said that, but the thing that Coach Simmons said about Coach Wheaton, he said he's the godfather, the guru of the Flexbone offense. I mean, interesting story about Coach Wheaton. His first 7 years, he drove 2 hours, and he still does it today, but he didn't get paid. He coached for free for the first 7 years. The last 6 years, he has been getting paid. But another thing that's interesting is he only comes to practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the team does not see him again, Nate, until actual game day on Saturday.
Yeah, because he has a 4-hour round-trip drive.
Officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
There's a bear down after that first down carry for De La Cruz, and it's John Ross May, the first-team all-conference linebacker. He would be a massive loss for the Bears.
Yeah,
a defense that's already struggling.
He's the green dot, right? He is the leader on that defense. He's the one that calls the defense. So leading tackler, that would be a big loss. And you see him kind of limping off the field. Hope he's all right and is able to get back on the field.
Maybe just that left ankle turned on him.
Yeah, it looks like De La Cruz was coming through low. He was still engaged with a blocker when De La Cruz, it looks like he might have run into that ankle.
So it's 1st and 10 for Harding at the 19. 4th trip to the red zone for the Bisons already. Pitch goes to Sinclair, and he can't get away from the tackle of Sedarius Kelly. Maybe a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9.
That's a nice job by corner TJ Blanding, too, coming from his cornerback position and helping fill the void on the edge. I talked about it earlier. This secondary is going to have to insert itself in the run game. Sedarius Kelly is a physical corner. He gets on both corners get in on that play. They finally get Harding on a minimum gain on first down, gets them behind the sticks.
Harding converts at 93% in the red zone this year, 3rd best in Division II. Lenoir-Rhyne already got one empty red zone possession defensively. Keelan keeps inside the 15. He went airborne and corkscrews down to the 14 after 4 more yards. Here's a big 3rd down for the Lenoir-Rhyne defense.
Nate, probably the most important 3rd down of the game, because you know if Harding gets 2 or 3 yards here, they're most likely going for it on 4. So it's on this Bears defense to hold them the minimum game, to hold them to a field goal attempt here and not allow them to go for it on 4th down.
They've been stuck on the field a long time. Harding has doubled up the time of possession for Lenoir-Rhyne so far in this game, and that is not unusual. The Bisons average just over 35 minutes of the football every game. Keelan keeps. Keelan inside the 10. Keelan turns his legs down to the 5. 1st down and goal for Harding.
And that's the theme, right? Missed tackles. You're not going to arm tackle Keelan. You're not going to arm tackle De La Cruz. See right here, so Darius Kelly kind of gets overextended. He was kind of playing half the pitch, half the quarterback right there. So Keelan does a really good job of reading that, just gets vertical and gets the 1st down.
Harding has converted on 3 of 4 3rd downs. Quick snap, De La Cruz, 2nd touchdown today.
I mean, this offensive line is having their way with this Bears defensive front. They're doing a really good job switching things up, either going low or they're whiffing on the defensive tackles, getting to the 2nd level. So I talked about it earlier, right? Getting a 2-for-1 block, letting the defensive lineman get up the field, and then getting to the 2nd level.
And as for his 3rd extra point of the day, it is good. Just did sneak it through, and it's 21-0 Harding. Speaking of 21, how about 21 rushing touchdowns for Blake De La Cruz this season? Over 100 yards in the first half already. Look at him go. Blake De La Cruz has carried the ball already 12 times for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I mean, Nate, he's run with purpose. You see it right there. You're not going to arm tackle this guy. And I talked about it. Even though he's only a $195, when he gets in the open field, he has that explosive speed. Yes, it says fullback there, but he has the speed of a running back. And you love him in the red zone. We talked about it coming into this game. 19 touchdowns, has added 2 more today. He has been the focal point of this Harding rushing attack.
And he has to carry a lot of the physical load as well. 74 carries in their first 5 halves of playoff football, counting today. And Kenny Wheaton mentioned us, too. Sometimes you forget the hits he takes, even on the plays he doesn't get the ball.
And honestly, he probably won't come out the game again, because when he did come out the game, they fumbled the football. So, yes, the plays he doesn't get the ball, the fullback is always getting hit on the dive every single play. So it shows you the toughness that he brings.
DeAndre Lester, good return, tightrope in the sideline across the 30. Knocked out of bounds by Keikoa Carroll, and Lenoir-Rhyne takes back over. So in the first quarter, Ligier, we said, don't panic yet. Keep running the football. It's only the second quarter, but it's 21-0.
Yeah, you need points no matter what out of this drive. We saw them last time when they were in the red zone before they went 3 and out. They got a field goal block and didn't get any points. It is monumental that Lenoir-Rhyne comes away from this drive with points on the board.
Shaun White has not thrown the football poorly, and they protected him pretty well, but not much on the ground for Lenoir-Rhyne. Rodgers in motion, White to throw, looking for the deep ball, has Sumner, couldn't get it at the 25. Full extension from Malachi Sumner, who was in single coverage against the first-team All-GAC corner, Ahmad Butler.
Yeah, and if you're Shaun White, you want to have that one back. That is a deep crossing route. Nice job by the offensive line being able to block, because we talked about the 2 edge defenders from Harding, right? They bring pressure off the edge. They allow Shaun White to step into that throw. Just put a little bit too much on it.
Empty on 2nd and 10. 4-man rush. White to the sideline, connects with Lester, who spins across the 35. A gain of 4, and it sets up 3rd down and 6. Maybe 3rd down and a long 5 coming up for the Bears. Would you already be thinking about this as 4-down territory?
You almost have to, right? Because we talked about it. Possessions will be at a premium, right? When you play a flex bone offense, you're probably only going to get 7 to 8 possessions a game. Right now, you're down by 21. So I talked about it before this drive started. It's monumental that they come away with points. You would like to get the 1st down here, but I think that Coach Jacobs would have to think that maybe he could potentially go for it on 4th down if they don't get it.
A blitz from Harding. White protected over the middle, complete to Lester, who has the 1st down to the 45, where he's planted by Zach Strickland. Flag down in the backfield.
Holding. Offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's the right guard, Ryan Wetzel, the 2nd. This offensive line has been really good for the Bears, but that's a critical flag.
That is a massive flag, because you actually pick up the 1st down, and I was going to say, on the play, if Shaun White had thrown that in stride, right, DeAndre Lester could have kept running after the catch. We'll see the hole right here on White. Gage Price is probably the best pass rusher inside. He beats him on an inside rip move, a nice club rip to get up the field. That's a nice job by him creating havoc to force the hole to put this Bears offense in 3rd and long.
White steps up. White flushed, throws middle again, and it's caught by Lester, but he's short of the sticks. Right at the 40-yard line, it'll be 4th and 2. Good tackle by Jeremiah Jordan, and it's decision time for the Bears, who look like they were thinking about it, but now out comes the punt team.
That was a really good job by Shaun White filling the pocket. We saw Dre Hall get a nice get-off on the edge, forced him up into the pocket. He's able to buy time, find Lester over the middle. Really surprised, though, Nate, that Coach Jacobs isn't potentially going to go for it. Would not be surprised if maybe we see a fake punt right here.
Stuart Simmons on for another punt. Ty Duggar is back at his own 20. Play clock at 3. Play clock at 1. And Lenoir-Rhyne just took a delay of game.
Looks like they were trying to get him to jump off sides.
Part of the snap. Delay game. Offense, number 87. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Harding has not been penalized in this game. That was the 8th flag against Lenoir-Rhyne for 75 yards.
Yeah, and if you're the visiting team, right, that's what you don't want, right? It's hard enough to beat this team, especially with the flex bone offense, but you can't have self-inflicting wounds. 8 penalties to 0. I would love to do the math and do the research on that and see what the outcome usually happens when a team is penalized 8 times and the other team isn't penalized at all.
A short punt wobbles barely into to Harding territory, and it's down close to midfield. Yet again, the Bisons take over on that midfield logo, up 21-0.
Timeout on the field.
Lenoir-Rhyne coming off a 35-7 quarterfinal win against Valdosta in a downpour. Only 51 passing yards, but they did a lot of damage on the ground.
Straight monsoon last week. They rushed for over 300 yards, and we talked to offensive coordinator Soto about that. And we said, what does it say about your team that one week you can throw for 400, the next week throw for 300, but then in a monsoon game you can switch it up and run the ball? He says we try to be multiple, and last week it presented itself that we were going to really run the football.
Saw that highlight of Xavier Turner-Knox's 87-yard touchdown run that made it 28-0, part of 4 second-quarter touchdowns for Lenoir-Rhyne last week. Turner-Knox hasn't even touched the ball so far today after 15 carries for a career-high 145 a week ago. Harding takes over on that Black Bison yet again. Keelan pitches, first chance for Braden Jay, but he is stacked up in the backfield and sandwiched to the ground by Devin Hibbett and John Ross May. Good to see May back on the field after he went off with an apparent injury on the last drive.
And Nate, that's great responsibility football. Everybody did their job. They took care of the dive, took care of the quarterback, and Hibbett does a really good job getting on the outside for that pitch to hold it for a tackle for loss.
Second down and 11 coming up for Harding. Mentioned it before the break. 8 penalties for 75 yards, and they've been some backbreakers against Lenoir-Rhyne. Harding has not been flagged so far in this game. Keelan keeps again. May is the first man there, and he's stopped after a gain of a yard. Best defensive possession already for the Bears after just 2 plays.
Nate, these linebackers are coming downhill. We just saw Hibbett come downhill on a pitch play right there. John Ross May does a really good job getting to Cole Keelan for a no game, essentially. And we talked about this in the do's and don'ts, right? If you're Harding, you want to stay out of these third and long situations. Now, the thing about them, if they get 4 or 5 yards here, they're probably going for it on 4th down. But if you're this Bears defense, this is exactly where you want this Harding offense to be.
3rd down and 10 from the 46. Keelan has put the ball in the air once, and Paul Simmons wants a timeout.
The play clock was getting low there.
Timeout, Harding. Their first of the half.
3rd down and 10. First 3rd and long for the Bisons today after the break. NCAA championship coverage continues next weekend with a D2 championship game next Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. For more information, visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Don't forget as well, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus later this afternoon. Colorado School of Mines, the top seed, hosting 4th-seeded Kutztown. And the winner of that game will face the winner of this one in McKinney, Texas, outside of Dallas next Saturday afternoon. Harding has rolled so far today, but facing 3rd down and long for the first time. Keelan, his second pass, goes to the flat for Jay. Not a lot to work with, and he gets close to midfield. 4 yards for Braden Jay. You'd think that's a little long for Harding to go for it here.
Probably because you're up 21-0, you most likely pin them back and play the field position battle. But Brandon Jay almost gave them the opportunity, kind of making that first defender almost miss, picking up 4 or 5 yards there. Usually right around midfield, right? They're more aggressive and potentially go for it. But again, with that 21-point lead, I think it's smart here by Coach Simmons to punt the ball away, try to pin them deep.
Ryan Fox, the senior, out to punt. 5th in net punting in Division II, but this is just his 26th punt of the season in 14 games. He's taken down. There's a flag. The ball goes into the end zone. If this is roughing, it's a first down. If it's running into the punter, it'll be a 5-yard penalty and set up 4th and 1.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker. Defense number 29. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Tony Black, the defensive lineman, came through. That's 9 flags for 90 yards against Lenoir-Rhyne in the first half.
And that's just undisciplined, right? You're in punt safe. You keep the defense out there, right? You just want to make sure they don't go for a fake. And I get it. Like, you weren't even close to blocking that. Just pull off the kicker. There was no reason for you to run into the kicker. You finally get a big stop on defense, but now you send that Harding offense right back out because of a personal foul. I know if you're Coach Jacobs, you're probably losing it on the sideline right now.
Mike Jacobs has been frustrated with the officials that his team's been called for 9 penalties and Harding none, but I don't know what you want him to do about that.
Yeah, you just can't have that.
De La Cruz up the middle. It's a gain of 3 or 4. right back on schedule.
Well, we were just talking about it, like they started to get some momentum back, right? The linebackers were firing downhill. Even though that Harding had great field position there, you go 3 and out, get the ball back, potentially run some of that clock down and score. Maybe this makes it a new game in the second half, but instead you get a costly running into a roughing the kicker penalty, and Harding's right back almost in the red zone with the football.
Jay gets the toss. Jay has a seam. Jay breaks free, and he's all the way down to the 11-yard line. A big carry for Braden Jay. He gets 19, and there's an injured Bear behind the play.
Officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
Trying to see the numbers. It's hard to tell from this angle, but I believe that's the second time Braden Jay has touched the ball this game. He's their utility guy. Matter of fact, he was all Great American Conference at the utility position. He's their Swiss Army knife. He actually leads them in the receiving yards. Yes, Harding doesn't throw the ball a lot, but he's also a really good special teams player as well. Had a big tackle last week on a fake punt from Valdosta State to get the ball back to the Harding offense last week. So this is a tough, rugged kid. They use him in multiple different possessions. He's one of their best slot backs, but he also is their leading receiver.
And Kenny Wheaton, the play caller for Harding, as you see TJ Blanding making his way off, said Jay's a pretty special player. And he made an interesting comment about those A-backs that sometimes it's kind of hard to get them the football consistently because they're not getting many calls for them. They're getting the ball as the defense dictates.
Correct, and it's all about Cole Keelan making the play to decide who gets the ball each and every play. So that's the thing. He said he loves their depth there, right? One game, a guy will go off for 70 yards. Next game, he may only get 20 or 15 yards. He said this is a very unselfish group, and the group loves when everybody else has success.
De La Cruz, the lone 1,000-yard rusher for Harding, takes it down to the 7. If Jay gets to 106 yards today,
defensive player,
he'll have 1,000 himself. There's another Bear who's down. This time it's Alvin James, and they're pretty thin at safety as it is because James Ussery, their all-Piedmont Division safety, is already out with a knee injury he suffered early in the first playoff game, that blowout win over Shepherd.
And that's the thing, when you play this flexible on offense, it's an aggressive, right, physical type offense. You saw James coming in from his safety position on the edge, making a play on De La Cruz there. Hope he's all right. It's good to see him actually getting up right there. But this offense will beat you up, right? You'll feel it after this game, the physicalness of this flexible on offense.
Seen a little bit of Royce Turner, 38, in this game already, who's pretty deep down that safety depth chart. And he's going to come on in place of James before 2nd and 5 at the 7-yard line. 5th time Harding has been in the red zone in the first half. 3 touchdowns and 1 turnover. An Andrew Miller fumble, the only stop Lenoir-Rhyne has gotten. De La Cruz again. Bulls inside the 5, and he's down around the 2. Deshaun Whitmire made the tackle. It's another first down.
And that was a heck of a collision from Whitmire right there to De La Cruz. We talk about the physical nature of De La Cruz, low center of gravity, built like a bowling ball. That was a heck of contact right there with him and Whitmire. Nice job by the safety coming downhill and making a play.
The recipe down here today has been Blake De La Cruz once, Blake De La Cruz twice, Blake De La Cruz to the 1. Andre Jefferson, good stop.
Yeah, and Nate, Andre Jefferson heard you. He's the boogeyman on that defensive line, right? He's the guy that had 4 tackles for loss last week versus Valdosta State. Look at him do a really good job of shedding the guard's block, coming over the top and making a big play for this Bears defense.
Somehow Grand Valley held this Harding offense without a touchdown, without a point through 3 quarters last week in this stadium. Ultimately fell 7-6.
Yeah, that was a great defensive battle last week. We talked about it. This Harding offense was able to get into the end zone late in the 4th quarter.
De La Cruz again. He's buried right at the line. John Ross May was first to get to him. No gain for De La Cruz, not something we've often said. That'll be 3rd and goal from the 1, but you'd imagine still 2 cracks at this for Harding.
Oh, definitely 2 cracks. They're almost inside the 1 at this point, Nate. So we kind of saw this last time when they were in this area. We saw Cole Keelan on a quarterback sneak. Let's see if they go back to that play.
Keelan sneaks it. Keelan stacked up, and he's short. It'll be 4th and goal inside the 1. Willie Lane, the grad student from Haines City, Florida, led the charge that time on the interior for Lenoir-Rhyne. No hesitation for Harding.
Yeah, we see the defensive tackles really starting to make an imprint for this Bears defense. We saw Jefferson make the play. Now we see Lane. This right here is the biggest play of the game, Nate, right? Because if the Bears defense can stop them and potentially go down here and score points right before half, this will be a nice momentum shift. But if Harding is able to get into the end zone and extend this league, it's going to be tough for the Bears. What a play call.
Braden Jay, airborne touchdown. 9th rushing touchdown of the season for Braden Jay, the 3rd different Bison to score in the opening half.
I mean, this was a great play call by offensive consultant Kenny Wheaton. What he does is from that slot back position, he gets Braden Jay on the move in motion. Already, you're out leveraged right now. You see there's nobody on the edge, and then even though they did get over the top, look at the effort by Brandon Jay. I'm going airborne. I'm making sure I get into the end zone. Nice finish by Braden Jay. Nice call by offensive coordinator Kenny Wheaton to get his team into the end zone.
Lenoir-Rhyne should have had its first stop. There's a flag on the extra point.
Offside. Defense, number 8. The penalties decline. Try is good.
Instead, it was another bit of yellow against Lenoir-Rhyne that extended this drive and set up Braden Jay.
Yeah, nice job again by offensive coordinator Kenny Wheaton getting Brandon Jay on the move so he can out-leverage that Lenoir-Rhyne defense. They lose contain, but even though Deshaun Whitmire gets over the top, nice job by Brandon Jay cutting back inside and then jumping over the top to get into the end zone.
Harding closing in on 5,500 rushing yards this season, and they have a good chance to break the single-season Division II record, which was set by that Lenoir-Rhyne team that went to the national title game in 2013 and came up short to Texas A&M Commerce. It would be a pretty fun thing for the Bisons to be able to not only break the record, but break it against the current holders in Lenoir-Rhyne and still have a lot of game left. Hate to keep harping on those penalties, Leger, but obviously on that drive, Lenoir-Rhyne did everything they could to make the stop, and still they were ultimately turned back by committing that critical roughing the punter penalty.
And that's the thing, right? You get off the field, right, and Harding has had great field position, and then just a self-inflicting wound, right? There was no excuse to run into the punter there, and then even at the end, right, on 4th, get them to 4th down, so have an opportunity to potentially get off the field. They aren't able to make the stop, and that's been the theme today, right? Penalties, self-inflicting wounds for this Bears team. That's how they've struggled in this game, and we talked about it. This Harding team, they've executed at a high level, and they haven't had any penalties.
Just a minute 34 as well remaining in this game, or in the first half, I should say, for Lenoir-Rhyne to try to get something. But you'd think they have to go for broke. You can't afford to just run this ball into the line. Yeah,
running is out the window now. Now that you're down by 28 points, we already talked about the way that Harding possesses the football. Possessions will be at a premium. So you got to think about it. You might get 3-4 more possessions for the rest of the game. You're already down by 28 points. So like you said, that you kind of almost have to go for broke right now if you're this Bears team.
Good route by Yates, who pulls it in. Contested catch against Duggar. And it's a gain of 10 and a first down for Lenoir-Rhyne on the first snap. That'll stop the clock while they reset the chains under 2 minutes. Only 5 seconds to get 10 yards. That math will work for the Bears. 4-man rush. White has had time. Delivers on the outside, and it's caught by the big receiver, Keelan Parsons, junior from King, North Carolina.
Well, it's a nice job by Parsons stepping on the corner's toes, working back on a quick hitch route. Nice timing between him and Sean Wright right there.
Mike Jacobs still has all 3 of his timeouts as well. 2nd and 3. White under pressure. White is spun down. Terrell Watson got home. A big loss. And timeout called by Lenoir-Rhyne.
Yeah, we talk about this defensive line and how they always get to the quarterback. Nice job. We call that an exit game, right? Terrell Johnson, he spikes inside of the tackle. And then you see Austin Bailey, he wraps around. The tackle tries to pass it off. He doesn't pass it off good enough. Terrell Johnson works through that, gets upfield, gets a big sack for this Bison defense.
2-time All-State selection at Wynn High School. Watson, a local Arkansas kid. Redshirt freshman has his first solo sack of his young college career. 3rd and 13 coming up for Anthony Soto and this Lenoir-Rhyne offense. Just not a whole lot in the playbook. Certainly no 28-point plays in the book.
Definitely, and third and long is where you definitely don't want to be when you guys got guys like Wallace, Watson, and Dre Hall coming off the edge. I mean, Dre Hall already has the active sack record for Harding in a single season this year. He has an excellent get-off, does a really good job bending at the top of the rush and getting to quarterback. So this is not a good position if you're this Lenoir-Rhyne offense right now.
Keep in mind, Harding still has 2 timeouts left as well. And Stuart Simmons has struggled punting the ball for the Bears. 4 men up at the line for Harding. Pressure on White. He throws to the outside for Yates, who makes the catch. Deion Campbell, the freshman from Houston, undercut the route, didn't get to the football, and Yates pulls it in on the sideline.
And Nate, I thought that was going the other way, but that's a great accurate throw by Sean White, right, to be able to put that over Campbell's head. And it was a big reception because that was 3rd and long. They get the first down and they stay on the clock.
Please reset the game clock to 50 seconds. 50 seconds. The clock will start on the snap.
The clock restarted when it shouldn't have. Here's a second look.
Thank you.
White to throw. White steps up, throws over the middle, and it's caught by Lester right at the sticks. They're going to mark him a yard short, so the clock continues to run, but it didn't start. The clock's still setting at 50 seconds, and the officials are going to have to figure this out now.
The game clock never stopped on the previous play. Please reset the game clock to 44 seconds. It will start on my signal.
That's a break for Lenoir-Rhyne. Only 6 seconds are going to come off, and then they're going to be able to snap the ball with almost no time coming off. It would have been running.
And without having to use one of their timeouts.
Clock running again. 4-man rush. White connects over the middle, out of the backfield with his running back, Zaire Dillard. First touch for the backup from Winston-Salem. Tackled by Strickland after a first down to the 41.
Clock stopped for a second, and they'll reset it, and it'll go.
Final 30 seconds. White goes deep, and it's caught by Parsons at the 15. Keelan Parsons, big-bodied receiver, made the contested grab over the first-team all-conference corner, Ahmad Butler.
Surprised Coach Jacobs isn't calling a timeout here. You have 2. But that was a great catch by Parsons. He was their #1 receiver last year. Dealt with some injuries, but that was a big-time catch from him.
To the tight end, Godwin. He's out of bounds around the 5. So Lenoir-Rhyne still has those 2 timeouts and 18 seconds left. The playbook all of a sudden is wide open.
Yeah, and that's a nice job right there by Sean White understanding the situation. He decides to go to John Godwin on a crossing pattern to get him out of bounds to save some of those timeouts. But what it also does is eat up some of that clock to make sure that Harding doesn't get the ball right before halftime.
2nd and 2 at the 5. And timeout called by Paul Simmons, who was racing down the sideline.
Harding, their second of the half. 30-second timeout.
Showing that All-American speed.
Yeah, he was. Remind me of back in the days when he was linebacker here, but that was a great job by him calling that timeout. You're giving up a few big plays. You want to bring everybody to the sideline, talk about it, and then also give your defense a breather, right? Because you want to be able to hold them out of the end zone here.
Keep in mind, Lenoir-Rhyne won the toss and elected to receive, so Harding will get the football to start the second half. Otherwise, there would be a real opportunity for the Bears to get back in the game. As it is, a touchdown here maybe gives them a little something to feel good about going into the locker room.
Yeah, and that's why that penalty was so big on the roughing the kicker one, because you were down by 21, had some momentum, had played really good defense on that drive, but because of the penalty, it led to another Harding touchdown. But this is a great response by Sean White in this Lenoir-Rhyne offense.
2nd and 2 at the 5. Dillard, the ball carrier. Dillard to the goal line. Touchdown, Bears. The offensive line looks slow to respond to the snap, almost like they weren't all on the same page with the snap count, but Dillard picked his way up the middle for a 5-yard score.
But, Nate, that was actually a really good play call by Anthony Soto, the offensive coordinator, because they still had 2 timeouts. We call that a sprint draw. Now, again, I'm not sure if the offensive line did that on purpose, but it actually worked out with the timing, right? Because you got Dillard down, Zaire Dillard downhill, and Harding, look, they were a little bit lost in the sauce right there. That's a big response by this Lenoir-Rhyne offense right before halftime.
Lenoir-Rhyne had to go almost the length of the football field, and they did it in not even the 94 seconds they were allotted. They did it in 72 seconds.
Yeah, would not be surprised if they go a little bit more hurry, spread offense for the rest of the game, because it seemed like Sean White was really in a rhythm during that drive, being able to find Parsons down the field, right? Being able to find Lester down the field. So, but not be surprised going forward. They do already go up tempo, but a little bit more spread and let Sean White be able to throw the ball around the yard.
I'm going to pitch something to you right now.
Okay.
Onside kick, because are you really worried about a Harding Hail Mary beating you?
I like that. I would maybe do it because they still got the 2 timeouts, right? Because they never used them, right? Or is it down to 1? Yeah. Because if you get it a couple plays, you could be in field goal range and potentially try to steal 3 points. So, actually, I think that's actually a smart idea, Nate. Let's see if Mike Jacobs potentially comes out with it.
Doesn't look like it, but I think of all the teams, for all Harding's strengths, Hail Mary probably not one.
Exactly. Yeah, if Harding recovers this, whether it's an onside kick or not, they're probably just going to take a knee and go into halftime.
Simmons to put it in the air. First time we've seen the Harding kick return unit. Jay will take it from the 11-yard line. Jay has a seam. Look at Braden Jay. He's into Lenoir-Rhyne territory.
He's gone.
He is gone.
Wow, they should have went onside kick. And Nate, we talked about Braden Jay. I talked about his skill set from the slot back position. He's the leading receiver on his team. I talked about how good of a special teams player he is. 2 block punts this year, right? Dangerous in the open field. Nice job by Harding opening up that canvas down the right side. And then you see the afterburners from Braden Jay to get into the end zone. Right here, everybody's falling. They bring a counter back across. Chauncey Martin, look at that. The other slot back guy. Look at the block on the kicker. Get out of my way. Braden Jay, I got reservations for 6 in the end zone. What a response by this Harding team after just giving up 7 points.
Braden Jay's longest kickoff return this year had been 36 yards, and Ennis missed the extra point. Just the second time he's missed this season in 69 tries on extra points. 89-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Kendall Allen was the longest for, or the last kick return TD. Came last season against Southern Nazarene, and this one 89 yards as well.
And it's a nice job by Chauncey Martin, right? The other slot back. And, ooh, Braden Jay, nice job, tight right roping the sideline. But he's an off returner, Chauncey Martin. And if he doesn't get in the way of the kicker probably pushes Jay out of bounds, and then we go into halftime. But that was a nice job, right? We always talk about this team being unselfish, right? Everybody doing their job, executing at a high level. That was a nice job by Chauncey Martin, springing his slot back teammate, Braden Jay, in for a touchdown.
You know, we were down on the field before the game, and we talked to one of the officials from this GMAC crew, the side judge, Qasim Ahmed, and he said, you know, you're probably not going to mention my name. I think we are right now, because what a great piece of officiating not to blow that dead and to see Braden Jay's feet were still in bounds.
Well, I always say, right, if it's questionable, let it play out and then decipher it afterward. He did a really good job doing that right there, because Braden Jay was clearly still in bounds. And Nate, we talked about it. It seemed like Lenoir-Rhyne had maybe brought some of that momentum back, and then in one kick return, Braden Jay just ended all the momentum that they had.
Taken by Rogers from his own 10. Rogers across the 25, and he's driven back at the 26. That will do it for the first half. Lenoir-Rhyne, a long touchdown drive, 75 yards in 1:20, and with 14 seconds left in the half, it looked like the Bears had at least given themselves some momentum, but Braden Jay houses it from 89 yards on the ensuing kick. It's a 27-point halftime lead for the Bisons, and they get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, Nate, the major things when you look at this game, the penalties against Lenoir-Rhyne, right, and then the execution by this Harding team, right? They've been executing on offense and on defense, only giving up 7 points. And then on special teams, complimentary football.
Paul Simmons, the 7th-year head coach of the Bisons, is with us. Coach, I'm going to go a weird direction with this. So many things went right in the first 30 minutes. Can you come up with even one thing you didn't like?
Well, I'll tell you what, we gave the ball away inside the 10-yard line, which is a killer. I hated that. But yeah, a lot of good things. The kids, man, we've had a great week, and I knew the kids were ready to play. And, we got a long way to go, but we're off to the right start.
Coach Simmons, just talk about how your defense gives up that 7 points, and then Braden Jay steals all the momentum back. How important or how big was that going into halftime?
Well, I tell you what, Braden Jay has been the elite playmaker on this team all year. He is so explosive, an unbelievable young man. But if he gets a little bit of grass, he's gone to the house. And that's kind of what these guys have done all year. You get a break, something goes against you, and boy, how you respond, and how you respond to everything. Man, what a response right there. Yeah, we stole all the momentum back. Just an awesome play by an awesome young man. I love it. I love it.
What's going to be your message in the locker room?
Foot on the throat. Foot on the throat. Got to finish it. Got to finish it. Got to have a killer attitude, and got to finish it off. And long way to go. But these guys have been business minded all year long, and we got to finish it.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you.
Paul Simmons with us at the half. His Bisons are all over Lenoir-Rhyne. Harding up 34-7 at the half. It's Searcy. Back with you after this. In our first Division II semifinal of the afternoon, it's all Harding at home, up 34-7 on Lenoir-Rhyne as we begin the third quarter. Nate Ganner, Leger Duzable back with you here from Searcy, Arkansas. Leger, we talked to Paul Simmons this week, and he talked about that 2017 team for Harding that went to the national semifinal and lost. And he said, they were just happy to be there. They had to get big wins just to get to the semis. This team, they feel like they deserve to be here. They're playing like it.
And they're definitely showing it, Nate. You talked about it coming into the season. They were a #1 seed. I talked about complimentary football. They're doing it in all three phases of the game, right? Special teams, offense, and defense. They have been stifling on defense, and we knew they were going to run the football. But the special teams, right? Braden Jay getting that big return right before half, that was big to steal the momentum back.
Got to look at some of the highlights. It started with Blake De La Cruz, who was phenomenal in the interior.
I mean, you see it, right? That's the theme of this game also, besides the penalties. It's the missed tackles from Lenoir-Rhyne. This guy has a low center of gravity, and even though he's a fullback, right, that's his position, he's explosive in the open field. You saw the 45-yard run there. And in the red zone, he just has the presence of mind to find the end zone and score touchdowns.
Touchdowns 20 and 21 on the ground for De La Cruz, and this was with 14 seconds left in the first half. Why are you kicking it deep?
I don't understand why Coach Jacobs didn't squib the ball, or like you even said, maybe even onside kicking, but nice job by Braden Jay, tight roping the sideline. Nice job by Martin, giving him a block to spring him into the end zone. And like I said, Lenoir-Rhyne just scored a touchdown. Well, Harding steals the momentum back with that kick return touchdown.
Tell the story for us.
It says it right there, right? Penalties. Lenoir-Rhyne, 9 for 90. Pivotal penalties at that, right? They get 3 and out on defense and get a roughing the kicker penalty, which Harding gets the ball back, scores a touchdown. And then, if you look at the Harding side, 0 for 0. We talked to Coach Simmons about that. This team executes at a high level. No penalties. We're able to run the football. We saw Lenoir-Rhyne start to get going on offense late in that second half, throwing the ball through the air.
And Lenoir-Rhyne won the toss and elected to receive in the opening half. So Harding gets it now to begin the final 30 minutes with that 34-7 lead. Certainly the Bisons were the better team in the first half hour, and it takes nothing away from them to admit that on the other hand, though, that Lenoir-Rhyne, without those penalties or with half those penalties, this could be a two-possession game.
Literally, and they had a chance to steal some of that momentum back, even though we know that Harding has started with the football around the 50-yard line. They get a 3 and out, and then you have a just unexcusable penalty on a roughing the punter penalty that gives Harding the ball back and they score. So if Lenoir-Rhyne could cut out the self-inflicting wounds, maybe they can find their way back into this game.
Harding's dual threat so far in this game has been De La Cruz and Keelan. Of course, Braden Jay has racked up the all-purpose yards, 89 on that kick return touchdown. 108 yards for Harding in this second half will break the Division II record.
Yeah, this is nothing new for Harding. We knew coming into this game they were going to run the ball. They led all Division II in rush yards per game with over 400 rush yards. They've been doing it on the ground with De La Cruz and their quarterback, Cole Keelan.
Jay in motion. De La Cruz gets the first carry, and he bowls across the 30. 6 yards for Blake De La Cruz. Devin Hibbett on the tackle.
And you hear the cruise from the fans out here at Harding. He does a really good job right there, right? That should be a play for maybe 2 or 3 yards, but because of that low center of gravity, he drags Hibbett for 6 yards.
2nd down and 4 coming up for Harding. Happy to move methodically. Happy to move methodically at any time in the game, let alone with a 27-point lead early in the second half. Keelan fakes the pitch, well handled by Hibbett, who plants him after a gain of a yard. That was some of the most disciplined defense of the triple option we've seen from Lenoir-Rhyne.
Yeah, nice job by defensive end Zeke Nance right there. He takes care of De La Cruz on the dive, and nice job by Hibbett getting over the top. He had quarterback responsibility, tackles Cole Keelan for no gain.
You wonder if Lenoir-Rhyne could improve defensively in the second half, if by no other reason than having seen this triple option for a half of football. Hard to simulate in practice.
And I'm glad you brought that point up, because we talked to defensive coordinator Sean Chaffee about that, because you can't really cut block in practice, right? You really don't want to get too physical in practice, especially throughout the playoffs. There's already wear and tear on your body, so it's a lot different when you see it in live game action. So that's a really good point, Nate. You would think maybe they get a little bit more comfortable seeing some of the reads and how to react to some of those things. And big decision right here. Will this Harding offense stay on the field and go for it?
They're going to keep the offense on the field, at least from the moment. Maybe just try to draw the Bears offside. They have converted 2 4th downs, both on 4th and goal from inside the 1.
Watch the dummy cadence.
De La Cruz gets it. De La Cruz is rankled around the neck by Jefferson, but he got it to the 35. Andre Jefferson thought he made the stop, but De La Cruz got just enough.
And I thought he did too. It seemed like De La Cruz was stopped for a second by Andre Jefferson. He had him kind of around the shoulder pad. You see him get off the block right here. And nice job by De La Cruz. Is where the ball was at. He was able to reach with that left arm just across, I believe that's right at the 35-yard line to get the first down.
Big first down for Harding. That would have given Lenoir-Rhyne a little bit of momentum. Excellent field position as well. 1st and 10. Keelan to throw. Keelan deep ball wide open. Roland Wallace is going to go. 65 yards. Touchdown Harding.
And Nate, we talked all week long to defensive coordinator Sean Chaffee about this, right? We were asking him, who is responsible for when that tight end goes down the seam, the 1 or 2 times a game it happens? Right there, it looks like Devin Hibbett potentially had him. They give you that run action on the option. He steps back for play action pass. Cole Keelan throws an absolute dot to Roland Wallace, because sometimes that's the hardest play when a player's wide open, but he actually hits him in stride for a big score.
Extra point is good from Ennis. Roland Wallace this season had 2 catches for 19 yards. That one goes for 65 yards, and it's 41-7 Bisons.
A nice switch up by offensive coordinator Kenny Wheaton. He knew that this Lenoir-Rhyne defense was going to be extra aggressive, trying to come downhill to stop this flex bone offense. So what does he do? He goes play action pass. Everybody gets suckered up by the play action pass, and then Roland Wallace wide open down the seam for a touchdown for the Bisons.
That man is a mastermind, the godfather of the flexbone offense. And I would think they're probably not watching the film because they're getting ready for their 3:30 Eastern time kickoff. That game will be on ESPN Plus in a little over an hour and a half. But Colorado School of Mines or Kutztown, whomever it is, who's headed to McKinney next week, quaking in their boots at the possibility of having to stop this offense.
As the young kids would say, Coach Wheaton is in his bag right now in regards to calling this football game. He's misdirection plays we saw in the red zone, right? Getting Braden Jay on motion, right, to out-leverage the defense. And then there, knowing that Lenoir-Rhyne has struggled stopping this run, everybody was going to commit to the run. They go heavy play-action pass, hit Roland Wallace down the seam for a touchdown.
Leapak to kick it away. Directionally kicked toward DeAndre Lester. It bounces inside the 20, and it's taken there, but the officials blow it dead for a fair catch. So it'll be taken, stopped at the 12. The officials are going to mark it right there, and Lenoir-Rhyne will have to take over at the 12.
Yeah, and this is a situation, this Harding defense, they thrive in this situation, right? 3rd and long. We talked about Nathaniel Wallace. We saw Terrell Johnson already have a sack. Dre Hall, the way he's able to come off the edge. I mean, you're down by double digits here, right? Almost down by 30 points in this scenario. So you know that Lenoir-Rhyne is going to pass. This is what this Harding defense lives for.
4-man rush. White well protected, goes to the sideline and not close to DeAndre Lester. White set the Lenoir-Rhyne single game record with 398 passing yards in the first round against Shepherd. That's 104 years of Bears football. He might get close to it again today at 174 already, and you'd think there will be very few running plays in the second half.
Yeah, he's definitely going to air it out. And after that Shepherd game, he threw for over 300 versus Benedict. So this is a guy that can sling it.
Parsons makes the catch. Butler hits him right away. They'll mark it at the 20. Brings up 3rd down and 2.
That's a nice job by Sean White, right? Just getting a nice, easy throw to Parsons, his big receiver, on the outside to get it down to 3rd and manageable.
Parsons' 4th catch for 51 yards in the game. Songa Yates leads all receivers with 81 yards on 4 grabs. Mass substitutions for Harding. And flags on the play. Did the Bisons have too many men on the field?
I believe timeout first. Yep.
Paul Simmons uses his first time out of the half to avoid what would have been a first down for Lenoir-Rhyne by penalty. 3rd and 2 after this. It's V Week at ESPN, where we partner with the V Foundation to highlight the urgent need for cancer research. This is game-changing research that helps save lives. You can join the fight against cancer by visiting v.org/donate. 100% of your donation goes directly to cancer research. Harding up 41-7 early in the 3rd quarter, and a 3rd and 2 coming up for Lenoir-Rhyne from its own 20-yard line. Rogers motions to the backfield. Rogers gets it out of the backfield, has a first down and more across the 30 and into the Harding sideline after a gain of 11.
It's a nice job right there by Sean White, understanding what Harding defense was doing. He motions the running back from empty into the backfield. He sees it as zone coverage because nobody moves with the running back. Throws it to him out in the flat just to get an easy completion for a first down.
He's thrown the football well. Lenoir-Rhyne's had some critical penalties in all 3 phases and just has not been able to stop Harding. White deep ball, and it's pulled in by Lester on the run. Lester dragged down from behind by Butler, but a big play to Dre Lester sets Lenoir-Rhyne up in the red zone.
What a dime by Sean White. He looks the safety off just enough, and then he puts it right on the edge for DeAndre Lester. Nice job by DeAndre Lester. Slight little push off with the left hand just to buy some space at the top of the route, but that was a nice connection between Sean White and DeAndre Lester. A great job by White using his eyes to buy that safety to make sure he had that one-on-one on the outside.
50 yards on the dot. Quick play fake. Ball fake to the flat. It goes to Lester. Makes a spin move on Strickland, and he's down to the 15. Speaking of getting in his bag, DeAndre Lester's feeling himself right now.
Yeah, he is. And that was a nice job by the Harding defense. They wanted to go screen and go. You see the pump fake right here? Well, we didn't see the pump fake, but he wanted to go screen and go. They do a nice job passing off, so he just throws it to the flat to DeAndre Lester, and he's able to make Zach Strickland miss and get some positive yards.
2nd and 6. Parsons in motion. White deep drop. White drifting. White throwing. Jump ball. Lester incomplete. No flag. The Lenoir-Rhyne sideline is furious. They thought Ahmad Butler might have had a hold on Lester's left arm.
It's a nice job by Sean White just buying some time in the pocket. So when Rogers is coming on, Lester's coming over in this over route. And yes, Ahmad Butler definitely should have been called for PI. He definitely grabbed the left arm right there, but I believe from the viewpoint, the ref really couldn't see that left arm being pinned down.
Yeah, that's why Ty Duggar's first team all-conference, right? He positioned himself right in the referee's eyesight. Connection on the catch to Rogers, who had the first down for a moment. Looked like he might have surrendered his forward progress, but they're going to give him the 9-yard line and move the chains.
Yeah, you said I was a little nervous. D'Ari Rogers had the first down, but he worked his way back to try to make a bigger play. I always wonder why receivers don't just get vertical in that situation, make sure they pick up the first down, but he ultimately gets it anyway.
First and goal for Lenoir-Rhyne. Godwin in motion. White bobbled the snap. Goes to the outside for Lester. Nothing there, and he's driven out of bounds. Clark Griffin had the tackle. Good job by the corner, Jeremiah Jordan, redshirt freshman, is setting that edge.
And Nate, you talked about it. That's a nice job holding off the block. He has the contained responsibility. He cannot allow Lester to get out. Nice job. And that's a tight end blocking him. That's John Godwin, right? He's a corner. He does a good job of holding him with that left arm, keeping that right arm free, and making that tackle because he has contained responsibility.
Second and goal. White off play action. White pressured, hit as he throws, and low and incomplete, looking for Godwin. He took a shot from Aldrin Wilson.
Just trying to get Sean White on the edge on this bootleg, trying to get Godwin in the flat. Nice job right there by Clark Griffin, picking him up in coverage. He has nowhere to go, just throws it at his legs so he doesn't take a sack.
Third down and goal from the 8. You'd certainly think everything is 4-down territory for Lenoir-Rhyne now, trailing by 34.
Yeah, if you're Sean White, you have to realize you got 2 downs to make this play, so you don't want any ill-advised passes right now.
4-man rush over the middle. It's tipped and incomplete. Off the hands of Dominique Marshall. Redshirt sophomore transfer from Kennesaw State. Second-year Bears' first target of the day. He's got to pull that one in.
And that was a nice call by offensive coordinator Anthony Soto. We talked about it. They have 2 downs to get this, so they run a quick slant, little scissors concept. They bring Dominique Marshall from the outside, and the ball hits him in between the numbers. You talked about it, Nate. You got to catch that ball. That way, even if you do get tackled, you're talking about maybe 4th and goal from maybe the 1 or 2 yard line.
Instead, it's 4th and goal from the 8. Not a single hand on the ground for Harding. They bring 4. One-on-one, not close to Lester, incomplete. And a promising Lenoir-Rhyne drive comes up empty. Good coverage again by Jeremiah Jordan, who made himself big once it got to goal to go.
Time out on the field.
And you talked about it, DeAndre Lester, right? 6-foot receiver. You got Jeremiah Jordan using his lead. Great job on his back shoulder fade, getting hands on Lester, and then playing the football. Nice job by this Harding defense getting off the field.
Last time Harding went to the semifinals, the only other time the Bisons have been to the Division II semis, they had to go to Texas A&M Commerce, and they had to go there without their starting quarterback. They got the lead on the Grant Kimberlin 51-yard touchdown run, but Texas A&M Commerce got to Arthur Cowan from 90 yards in the 4th quarter. And ultimately, it was Commerce that went on to win the national championship in Paul Simmons' first year as the head coach. But we talked about it at the half.
Yep.
That team was happy to be there, and then without their starting quarterback. This team has everybody clicking, and they're not just happy to be here.
Yeah, I actually asked Coach Simmons that in our meeting. I was like, what is the major difference? He said that team kind of snuck into the playoffs. Then they beat 3 top 10 teams. He felt like this team deserved to be there, right? They felt like they were the top dog. They were a number 1 seed. And we see it today, right? Them executing on all cylinders. Complete game so far. Offense, defense, special teams.
By the way, just a couple of years before that 2012 First Division II playoff appearance, that's when they made the switch to the Flexbone, and it's all been positive from there for the Harding Bisons, who take over at their own 8. Keelan keeps it. Keelan across the 15, still going across the 20. Cole Keelan, 14-yard scamper on first down, and he gets Harding out of the shadow of its own goalposts.
And he's been masterful in reading the defense and understanding when it's his job to keep the ball, when it's his job to hand it off to De La Cruz, the fullback, or whether it's his job to pitch it to one of these slot backs. He's just done a really good job of understanding what this Bears defense is doing and how to attack it.
Young man that Kenny Wheaton calls Rooster because of his red hair. Meeting early in the season, he said he came in with that hair pointing straight up, and it just made him think of a rooster, and the name is stuck. Keelan again gets across the 25, bangs to the 26. And this coaching staff said, again, it's about him being a winner, about him buying into the culture, that you can't play for Kenny Wheaton if you're not willing to be coached hard.
And that was the thing I wanted to bring up, Nate, right? They said when they were recruiting him, and we brought this up earlier, that there were 4 other guys. And they actually said those 4 other guys were more talented than him. But they felt like with Keelan, when Cole Keelan, he was going to be the guy that stick with it, because it's one thing to say, yeah, I want to play in the flex bone, but it's another thing where you're getting this coach as hard as you are by Coach Wheaton, and knowing that you're not going to throw the ball a lot. So I think he felt like out of all the quarterbacks that they recruited, Cole Keelan was a guy that not only was he a winner, but he was going to have that stick-to-it mentality with it.
Pitch to Chauncey Martin. Look at him drive his legs across the 40. Chauncey Martin already had the first down. He got an extra 5 or 6 yards out to the 43 before he was sandwiched by Malik Taylor and John Ross May.
And we saw some of his bigger runs on the intro when we talked about it. Chauncey Martin was the guy that also sprung Braden Jay on that touchdown on the kick return. He's their more bigger physical back, right? Standing at 5'8", no, not 5'8", at 5'10", 210 pounds. So it's not easy to bring him down.
1st and 10 for Harding now out to the 43. Already 35 yards on this drive for the Bisons. Very little Lenoir-Rhyne's been able to do to slow it down. Pitch goes the other way to Omar Sinclair. He cuts upfield along the hash to the 47. A 4-yard gain on 1st down. Sinclair, the 3rd-year Bison who transferred from Concordia University of Michigan. He averaged 8.7 yards a carry a couple of years ago, a Harding record, but missed last season after tearing his ACL. Kenny Wheaton said he was a dude in 2021, and you're starting to see him get back to his old self.
And that's the thing. We talked about this earlier, right? The slot backs. There's so many guys they can really lean on, whether it's Braden James, whether it's Jalen Spicer or Chauncey Martin or Omar Sinclair. And each one of these guys is unselfish, right? Because no one knows which game is going to be their big game, but they all go out there and do their job.
It's Cole Keelan's big drive, and he's inside the 20 out of bounds. Keelan rips off another. Drew Campbell finally slings him across the boundary, and Harding back in the red zone.
I mean, Cole Keelan, turn on the afterburners, young man. Nice job outside blocking by the receivers, also the offensive line. He's able to get to that edge because the Lenoir-Rhyne defense did not do a good job of fitting up that run. And once he got to that edge, we saw the speed element that Cole Keelan brings.
34 yards for Keelan. Hands off to De La Cruz, who has not been featured on this drive. He gets a couple. John Ross made the stop. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
And Nate, you said something interesting, right? De La Cruz hasn't been featured on this drive. That proves, right, that any one of these players can have a big moment at any time. And that's what makes it so hard to defend this flex bone offense. The first half, right, De La Cruz, he hit you upside the head for 120 yards. Now he hasn't even been getting the ball in the 3rd quarter, but now Cole Keelan is starting to wear on you. Chauncey Martin is starting to wear on you. Omar Sinclair is starting to wear on you. And the offensive line is starting to wear on you. That's why it's so hard to defend this flex bone offense.
Chauncey Martin, an easy trot into the end zone. Another score for the Bisons, another different scorer.
And we talk about the unselfish play, right? The slot backs, they do a good job of blocking down the field too. Omar Sinclair on that toss play does a really good job getting out in front, blocking for Sinclair. He's the left up back. Look at how he springs this block. And right there, if you're Whitmire, you have to send that ball back inside. You're the contain guy. He does not get outside. Chauncey Martin just walks into the end zone for a touchdown.
6 plays, 92 yards. You hear the chant of flex bone.
I love it. The flex bone will wear on you, Nate. It'll wear on you.
Great student section here at First Security Stadium, and they are loving life. 48-7 Harding. 330 rushing yards as a team. We still got 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Bisons all over Lenoir-Rhyne. Told you about Mike Jacobs' playing career at Ohio State. Well, Paul Simmons, no slouch himself, 3-time All-American here at Harding in the 90s. And we talked about it with him. We talked about it with his defensive coordinator, Coach Moat. And we've talked about it between the two of us already on this broadcast. It really is a family, a brotherhood, as they call it. Almost everybody on this coaching staff has been part of this program as a player.
Yeah, when we're talking to Coach Moat and Coach Simmons, they said it's the people, right? That's why they wanted to come back here. and coach for this school. They love and bleed this black and gold here at Harding. So it's a family affair. Coach Simmons, we talked about it, was an All-American here as a linebacker. We saw him sprint down the sideline to call that timeout. Looks like he might be able to give us 1 or 2 plays today still, Nate.
Rogers to take it from inside the 10. Angles across the 15, slips a tackle to the 25 and lowers his shoulder out to the 28. That's where Lenoir-Rhyne will take over. Harding closing in on what would be an 18th straight victory going back to last season. October loss to Henderson State, the alma mater of the offensive consultant, Kenny Wheaton, who calls the plays. You know what I loved? That Coach Simmons did not even hesitate, didn't even crack a smile when I asked him if he could find something to criticize in the first half. When we talked to him at halftime, he said, absolutely, I can.
Definitely can. And that's a coach for you, right? They are always going to have something that they need to correct or figure out something to correct. So he talked about them fumbling the ball in the red zone and then probably also giving up that score right before half. But again, Braden Jay did a really good job of stealing the momentum back.
Little reverse to Lester, who comes around and gets to the 40, upended and knocked out of bounds by Dre Hall, first team all-conference D lineman.
Yeah, Anthony Soto with the reverse right here. They do a really good job getting the offensive linemen out. It's actually a pretty good job by Kyle McDonald trying to fight 3 offensive linemen out, forcing that ball back inside to the rest of the help of the Harding defense.
12 yards for Lester on the ground. Officials hold up Lenoir-Rhyne after a late substitution. Yates goes in motion. McGee. Yates wants to throw it this time. It's all covered up, and Clark Griffin got him. Second sack for the Alabama transfer, Clark Griffin.
I mean, I just love the way this kid plays, Nate. I actually asked their defensive coordinator, Rodney Moda, about him. I was like, on film, Coach, it kind of looks like he's the heart and soul of this defense. He said, I wouldn't say he's the heart and soul of this defense. He was like, he's not the biggest guy. You know, he's 5'9", 185, but he flies around, led them in tackles last year, leading them in tackle this year. And you talked about it, right? Second sack of the game, does a really good job just triggering on that reverse pass by Lenoir-Rhyne.
Throw to the outside for Yates, who's pursued by Griffin to the boundary, and he's out of bounds at the 39. Got most of that sack back, but it's still going to be 3rd down and 11. Griffin has been really good in the playoffs as well. Had 8 tackles last week against Grand Valley, a couple of them for loss, including a sack. So 3 playoff sacks now in the last couple of games for Griffin, and a big 3rd down now for Sean White and the Bears.
Yeah, he does a really good job of diagnosing plays and then triggering and getting downhill in a hurry.
4-man rush. White well protected. Goes to Godwin short. Godwin hit right away and dropped at the 44-yard line by Oric Walker Jr. It'll be 4th and 6, and Lenoir-Rhyne has no choice but to go for it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? When you're down by this. Oh, it looks like they're going to actually punt the football away. A little surprised by this, Nate?
I don't understand the purpose.
A little surprised? It's interesting because you're right around midfield. I would understand if it was like 4th and maybe 10 plus, but it being like 4th and 6, a little surprised Coach Mike Jacobs isn't going for this.
No beauty points. It doesn't matter if you lose by 50 or by 70 or by 90 at this stage of the season. Simmons gets away a decent punt. It hasn't been his best game, and it bounces out of bounds inside the 25. So Lenoir-Rhyne gains 31 yards of field position, and in exchange is borderline surrendering this football game with Harding up by 41 late in the 3rd quarter.
Looks like
6 more yards for the Bisons, and they will, just to add insult to injury, break Lenoir-Rhyne's single-season Division II rushing record, which was set, by the way, running the flex bone back when Mike Houston, now the coach at East Carolina, was leading things for Lenoir-Rhyne.
What do we call that? Poetic justice? And it looks like, Coach Simmons is starting to make some mass substitutions on offense.
Tyler Ross, the sophomore from Webb City, Missouri, will make his 13th Harding appearance of his career, 10th this season. Andrew Miller gets the carry, and he picks up a few. good to see Miller back out after he had the fumble on the first non-De La Cruz be-back carry of the playoffs.
And that's big, and I think that was important for offensive consultant Kenneth Wheaton to get him another carry, because you just never know, right? If De La Cruz, God forbid, something happens and he's not able to go, you want that kid, you don't want Miller to have some confidence going forward, right? You don't want him to just have that one carry and have that in the back of his head that the only carry I had in the whole game I actually fumbled the football.
2nd down and 7, 3 more yards for the record. Handoff Miller, gets to the 30, pushes to the 32, and there's the record.
There it is.
The 2023 Harding Bisons have run for more yards than any other team in the history of Division II.
Andrew Miller, you will go into the history books because you were the guy that had to carry to get them to the record.
Sort of an up and down day for young Mr. Miller.
Yeah, right?
That's how it goes sometimes early in a career. Redshirt freshman out of Harding Academy. That building is, 100 yards from where they're snapping the football.
Maybe less than that.
Gets it again for a first down. 36 yards to the end zone, another 10, the track, and then you're pretty much there. A big game coming up tonight. A lot of the people in the stands today will be headed to watch Harding Academy tonight, and Andrew's younger brother is the starting quarterback for Harding Academy, playing for a state title at the War Memorial in Little Rock this evening. Talk about that after the game as well with Paul Simmons. His 2 sons are the starting linebackers for Harding Academy. Miller gets it again. He's close to the 40 and pushes all the way to the 40-yard line on a gain of 4. And that will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. His older son, Wyatt, committed to Arkansas over a bevy of Power 5 offers. You name a blue blood, and they probably wanted Wyatt Simmons to come play linebacker for him. And his younger son, Tanner, been called up to the varsity, and he's going to start as a true freshman tonight next to his brother at linebacker for Harding Academy. Coach Simmons talked about how fortunate he's been because they've been at home as the top seed, not to have to miss a game. He knew there was a potential conflict if they made it to the state championship, but an 11 a.m. local kick, and he's going to be able to make it tonight to the War Memorial to watch his sons and Andrew Miller's younger brother play for a state title. Big day of football around these parts here in Searcy, and it's off to a good start. The Harding Bisons rolling over Lenoir-Rhyne after 3. We mentioned it before the break. Tanner and Wyatt Simmons, the freshman and senior Harding Academy sons of head coach Paul Simmons, will be playing for a state title tonight just down the road in Little Rock, maybe 45-minute drive from where we are right now. And talk about a blessed fall for Coach Simmons to get a chance to not only take his team as it stands farther than they've ever been in this tournament. They have never gone to a Division II championship game, and he gets to watch his sons go all the way to the state title game as well.
They talk about a big day for the Simmons family. I was actually talking to Coach Simmons before the game. I believe it's actually Tanner's birthday today too, right? So not only are you potentially going to the championship game in Division II if this game holds, right? You get to see your sons play later on for a state championship, and it's the younger brother's birthday today, so a great day in the Simmons family. So he said he was so blessed that everything was able to work out. He was able to have this early game and get down to Little Rock to see his sons play for the state championship today.
Now, he was excited to see that they got this time slot at noon Eastern instead of 3:30, I would imagine. Don't forget about that 3:30 Eastern kick. Top-seeded Colorado School of Mines hosting 4th-seeded Kutztown. The pitch goes to Stone Sheffield, who breaks a tackle. Holding a man off, gets out of bounds, close to a first down. Royce Turner, that backup safety, really third-string safety, who's been called into greater action with the injury to Alvin James, got him out of bounds. It'll be 4th and 3. Harding, under ordinary circumstances, might think about going for this, but instead Ryan Fox will be out to punt for the 2nd time today, and just the 27th time all year in 14 games counting this one. That's not even 2 punts per game on average. And maybe part of the reason he was only honorable mention all GAC, despite having a net punting average of just about 40 yards, 5th best in Division II. Max protect on the punt. Fox gets it away. Wobbling spiral, bounces inside the 20, and angles down around the 15. Out of bounds right there. Good punt by Fox. 42 yards. No surprise, it's all net. Harding Bisons up 48-7. To look at Legacy Park, a new area just developed on the west side of campus at Harding University for housing for faculty and grad students, called Legacy Park because a lot of them are named for former faculty members. They talk about starving grad students. I tell you what, being a starving grad student at Harding doesn't look too bad.
Doesn't look bad at all. Really nice, newly developed area out here in Searcy. So, like you said, usually grad students, it's a struggle bus, but they're living the high life out here.
Xavier Turner-Knox, first carry of the game, and he loses a yard. Good play by Terrell Johnson. See the all-sack honorees for Lenoir-Rhyne. John Ross May has made a big impact in this game. Andre Jefferson had a couple of plays, but to be honest, this Bears defense just didn't have answers. Yeah,
and surprised they weren't able to get Dwayne McGee going in the run game. They were down 21 at a blink of an eye and kind of took the run game away for this Bears team.
Downfield throw incomplete, intended for Sumner. Coverage by Travis Greenawald, junior from LaPorte, Texas. Spent his last couple of years at Houston Christian, now in his first season with Harding.
That was almost a heck of a catch by Sumner on the back shoulder fade. Nice job by Greenawald right there, to defend that pass.
Another third down and long for Lenoir-Rhyne. White checks the play with his four wide receivers. Four-man rush, pressure right away, and he airmailed Yates. It's intercepted. Troy Wiseman got the pick. Second of the year for the redshirt freshman from Conway, and Harding takes over deep in Lenoir-Rhyne territory.
Yeah, right there. You get some pressure from the front four from this Harding defensive line. And Sean White just backpedals, but then kind of throws off his back foot, doesn't really get to step into this throw. This ball really sails as he was trying to hit Yates on an outbreaking route. Nice job by Wiseman in his zone coverage to be able to come away with that interception.
28th takeaway of the season for Harding. Malik Young is in there at quarterback now for Harding, the third QB the Bisons have used in this game. Young keeps it and carries inside the 20. Slipped one tackle down around the 15. It'll be second down and 1. Lenoir-Rhyne on the offensive line has done a good job in this game, and that was not good on 3rd and 11. It almost looked like a screen the way Harding came through.
And that's the thing with this Harding defensive line, right? They use a lot of pass rush games. We talked about one earlier, the exit game where the defensive end crashes into that B gap, which is between that guard and tackle. Then the defensive tackle wraps around. So they ran a double exit game on there, and Lenoir-Rhyne's offensive line just didn't pick it up at all. You said it looked like a jailbreak screen as quick as that defensive line for Harding was in the backfield.
Second and 1. Miller the handoff, and he gets the first down to the 13. Young took it for 9 yards on the first snap of this drive, became the 10th different player to carry the football for Harding in this game.
And yeah, if Young on that read, if he keeps the ball, I think he walks into the end zone, but instead he hands it to his fullback, Andrew Miller, and they get a small gain on first down, or they get the first down on that last carry.
First and 10 from the 13. Of course, the Bisons happy to let this clock melt away. Just another day at the office for this offense. Young on the design keep, hurdles a man inside the 10, and he's down to the 8. Good carry on first down. Sets up second down and 5. Make it second and 4. They'll give him the 7-yard line.
And these are pivotal reps for some of these young players from Harding, right? We talked about it earlier. You just never know what's going to happen down the pike. This game continues to be this way, and they play in a championship game. You want to make sure that some of these young players have reps just in case they're counted on in pivotal situations. So it's a good job by Coach Simmons getting some of these younger guys some pivotal reps.
They'll be excited about the possibility of heading down to McKinney next week, not only because they'll be playing for a national championship for the first time. Miller down to the 1. But also because there's a big alumni base for Harding in Dallas, and probably the easiest airport to get to from Little Rock as well. So you'd think there'll be plenty of fans for the Bisons who are juiced up about playing for their first ever national championship.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be surprised if they travel in droves, some driving, some, like you said, it's an easy flight from Little Rock to Dallas. So excited for this Harding team. They were the team that came out and executed on all cylinders. They took care of the football, and they played complementary football, right? All three phases had a hand in this win today.
This is more what the regular season was for Harding when they won every game by double digits. Young on the pitch to Chauncey Martin. Martin to the edge, and he's strung out at the 1. Royce Turner made the tackle. That was well defended by Lenoir-Rhyne.
Yeah, I thought he was actually going to scoot into the end zone, but that was a nice job by Deshaun Whitmire on the outside, fighting off that block and being able to tackle Chauncey Martin for a small gain there.
4 different players have combined to score Harding's 7 touchdowns. Young and Miller have not scored. Neither has Stone Sheffield. 3 of the 4 in the backfield for Harding on this drive. Miller, goal line, touchdown.
Got in there.
Andrew Miller's 6th rushing touchdown of the season. His first playoff touchdown. The redshirt freshman out of Harding Academy here in Searcy makes it a 50-burger for the Bisons, their 5th different touchdown score today.
So happy for Andrew Miller, right? Earlier had the fumble in the red zone. Then his carry was the carry that broke the record for Division II rushing yards in a single season. Now he's able to find his way into the end zone after fumbling in the red zone last time. Couldn't be happier for that young man.
And this extra point is good, and it is 55-7. Harding won every regular season game by double digits, all but one by at least 31 points. First 2 playoff games were both 1-point wins. Not today. It's a rout. Ferris State, the 2-time defending national champions, including last year when they rolled over Valdosta State. The team that Lenoir-Rhyne just beat in the last round, thanks to Jared Bernhardt, the former Maryland lacrosse legend who transferred to Ferris State to use his last bonus year of eligibility in a different sport. And he made it count. The boys from Big Rapids, a 58-17 win. And the year prior, they won 41-14 over Colorado School of Mines, the #1 seed remaining in this tournament. But Ferris State went out of the championship in the first round with a 2nd loss in as many tries this year against Grand Valley. And we are likely to see, in fact, guaranteed to see a new national champion that's not on that list.
Yeah, talk about Ferris State. Let's not forget Caleb Murphy was a guy that was making a lot of plays from the edge for them. He was an undrafted free agent for the Tennessee Titans. I actually thought he was a guy that was going to be drafted for the production that he had while at Ferris State.
Another touchback, a couple of booming kicks from Magnus Lepak in this game, plus a 10-yard dribbler that really got Harding rolling after the opening touchdown when they recovered the surprise onside kick. So look at the bracket. Don't forget, we're closing in on kickoff there in Golden, Colorado, under an hour away. Colorado School of Mines against Kutztown coming up at 3:30 Eastern Time. The winner, I think we can safely say it, will play Harding in McKinney next weekend.
Yeah, it looks like Lenoir-Rhyne is going to put Jalen Ferguson in for the rest of this game. He was a guy that started a good portion of this season, right? Got kind of banged up, and Sean White really took advantage of that opportunity and never looked back. But they have a lot of faith and trust in Jalen Ferguson as well. He does a really good job of completing intermediate passes, and that's how he'll be able to distribute the ball today for the rest of this game.
One right away, completed to Parsons for an 11-yard gain and a first down in front of Travis Greenewald. Ferguson did play well, 72% completions, close to 1,500 yards. He had 16 touchdowns, just 2 picks this year, but lost his job in part because of getting banged up in that Wingate loss, the only loss for Lenoir-Rhyne prior to today. Turner Knox gets to the 40 where he's met by Wilson. Still falls forward for a couple more. Good run by Turner Knox.
Yeah, I was really surprised they didn't get Turner Knox really going earlier in this game. I believe he didn't have his first touches until the second half. And by them, you know, the run game was kind of null and void because they were down by so many points. But Turner Knox had a really big game versus Valdosta State last week. Had an 80-yard run and went for over 100 yards in that game.
2nd down and 5. Parsons in motion. Low snap. Ferguson took it well. Slings it out to Lester, who makes the catch at the 45. And goes down around 1st down yardage. They'll give it to him at the 47. Troy Wiseman just grabbed onto that left ankle and held on for dear life. Not a bad thing for Lenoir-Rhyne to have 2 capable quarterbacks, but you do wonder how that will shake out over the summer going into fall camp and next year. Certainly both of those guys talented enough and have produced enough to justify wanting to be the starter. Turner knocks on the cutback, gets a yard, maybe 2. It'll be 2nd and long. You do feel for Jalen Ferguson.
Yeah, you do. Because like you said, I mean, he was very efficient this year, completing 72% of his passes, only 2 interceptions, 16 touchdowns. And there's usually always a saying, right, Nate? You don't lose your job because of injury, but it depends on when the next player steps up, right? If he is able to elevate what the team is doing, then you go with the hot hand. And essentially, that's what happened to Jalen Ferguson this year.
Yates in motion. Ferguson off the play fake, wants to go deep for Lester. He's got it in stride. DeAndre Lester stumbles to the 5, to the goal line. Touchdown! What an effort by Lester. Are the officials marking him short? There are flags for a face mask, but surely Lester broke the plane.
I thought he broke the plane and got in. And it's going to be horse collar is going to be the flag. I even saw him reach the right arm out with the ball. I thought he got across the goal line.
The officials waved their arms over their heads to stop the clock. In other words, signaling he had gone out of bounds short of the pylon, but he knocked it over.
Yeah, let's look at the replay, Nate.
He's clearly in.
Oh, that's personal foul. Yeah. Face mask on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic 1st down.
Now, I wonder will they take a look at this because he clearly got into the end zone for a touchdown. It's a nice job by Jalen Ferguson. Look how he throws that out. So
previous play.
So Lester can run up under it, right? On that post route, a lot of times quarterbacks make a mistake and throw it in the middle of the field. But he threw it across the field. That way Lester could run up under it. But from every angle that we've seen, Nate, this looks like a touchdown.
To me, there's no doubt he's in there. And then watch his feet. He still hasn't gone out of bounds. Yeah. And his feet are both either in the end zone or go over the pylon on the inside of it.
Exactly.
I think the officials just threw the flags and almost stopped thinking about is he going to get over the goal line or not.
Yeah, this should be overturned quite quickly. It's under review right now, but I believe this will be a touchdown. And we talked about Jalen Ferguson. He can play football. That was a nice job by him. Again, throwing it across the field.
Review, the ruling the field is overturned. Touchdown. A 15-yard face mask will be enforced on the kickoff.
That's a nice job by the refs getting together, getting that review done. They saw the replay, saw that DeAndre Lester definitely stayed in bounds and got the ball across. But another good job by Jalen Ferguson throwing it across the field so his receiver can run up under the football. Then great job by DeAndre Lester showing some grit and fight, even though this game is out of balance, to find his way into the end zone.
Jake Brown is back out for an extra point. He had a borderline not top 10 moment after getting his field goal blocked in the first half when he kicked the football. You can understand, if I were Jake Brown, not sure I would want a whole lot of whatever's happening with a fumble either. 5'8", $155. He tacks on the extra point. We take a break. 55-14 Harding. Lenoir-Rhyne's 2nd touchdown of the game from DeAndre Lester, who's had a really nice afternoon. 8 catches for 139 yards and a score.
It's a nice job by Jalen Ferguson. We talked about it before. A lot of these quarterbacks will lead that receiver up the field, but he does a good job leading him across the field away from the safety. And then DeAndre Lester, look at the fight, determination, and grit. Even though you're down by 40, to fight his way into the end zone, to not give up. Coaches will see that on film, and they'll like that this offseason when they're breaking down the film.
He added an 11-yard carry as well. Had that other long catch down the sideline earlier in the game, similar to that one, the concentration to reach out, get his hands on the football, even at a full sprint. 52 yards for the touchdown from Ferguson to Lester. And Stuart Simmons will kick it away from midfield, although the ball fell off the tee. That's because of the 15-yard face mask penalty on Greenewalt getting enforced on the ensuing kickoff after review determined that Lester broke the plane. See if Simmons sends it deep or tries to pop one up in the air with some hang time. He'll go long and put it through the back of the end zone. Harding will come out to the 25-yard line, which will be, I think, the second worst starting field position for the Bisons. The only time worse, they took over at their own 8, but that was after a turnover on down, so it doesn't really count.
And I think in the first half, the worst starting field position was their own 37-yard line, something
exactly
like that.
Right.
So that's been another key factor in this game, right? The field position battle. Harding has won that as well.
So if you were Colorado School of Mines or Kutztown, whoever ends up winning our second semifinal, which will kick off in just about 45 minutes on ESPN+, as Harding goes back to work, and the handoff goes to the third B-back they've used in this game. Good run by Josh Strickland Jr., redshirt freshman from Dixon, Tennessee. There's a flag down. I think it might be offside against Lenoir-Rhyne.
Luke Gilbertson jumped offside.
Offside. Defense, number 24. The penalties decline. Second down.
That is the true freshman Gilbertson from Harrisburg, North Carolina. But if you were whoever Harding ends up seeing next week in McKinney, maybe you can take more from the film of the Grand Valley or the Central Missouri games when the defense has had a little more success. But if you're watching this film, what would you say, all right, we're going to try to do X or Y better than Lenoir-Rhyne did?
Yeah, first of all, it's the penalties, right? Self-inflicting wounds. You can't beat yourself. It's hard enough to stop this flex bone offense. So first and foremost, that should be the emphasis for those coaches that are watching film, getting ready to prepare for Harding in the championship game, right? Fellas, it's hard enough to stop this team, but we can't beat ourselves and have them beat us. So first and foremost, do that. Then you got to be able to tackle in space. How many times did we see De La Cruz or Cole Keelan make somebody miss in the open field? So that will be another emphasis. And then effort, and discipline. When you have your job, do it, and do it at a high level, full speed.
First and 10 for Harding at the 39. It's Ross on the design keeper. Ross slips a couple of tackles, still driving into Lenoir-Rhyne territory. That's the arm tackling you were talking about. 15 yards for Tyler Ross on a first down.
And this is a young man that's put together well. I mean, 6'1", 230 pounds. He essentially is like a fullback running the football. So we talked about those arm tackling. That was a deep tackle. That was Rashad Yelding. He couldn't even bring him down. So nice physical run by Tyler Ross right there.
Into the final 5 minutes with a football at the Lenoir-Rhyne 46-yard line on a first down for the sophomore Ross and the Bison's offense. Handoff goes to Strickland, who is upended after a gain of 3 yards by Nishawn Biggs. It'll be 2nd and 7. You know, when we talked to Coach Jacobs this week, to your point about matching the discipline and the effort, he said they had to do that it's like a secret society at Harding. They have the answer for everything. The secret society had all the answers today.
They had all the answers to the test, and that's the thing. And we talked about this throughout this broadcast, right? Coach Wheaton, Kenny Wheaton, the offensive consultant for Harding, does a really good job of once you take something away, he has something else, right, that you can't take away. So they always have a counter for everything you do. That's why when you're playing the flex bone offense, you have to be so disciplined. And it's not just discipline with your fits.
Offense, number 12, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And that is the first penalty against Harding in the game. Make it the second.
It is, and what I was saying is not just disciplining your fits, it's eye discipline, right? We saw that, right? After Lenoir-Rhyne sold out on the run, they go play action pass and find Roland Wallace down the field for a touchdown. So they always have a counter for everything you do in this flex bone offense.
55-14 Harding. Just a dominating performance for the Bisons. I don't know that even the more optimistic fans here in Searcy would have seen this coming. Paul Simmons taking his headset off on the sideline with more than 3.5 minutes to go in the game. Chauncey Martin is loose inside the 40, and he's down to the 38. You know, talking about Kenny Wheaton having answers for everything, one of the interesting things he told us is that they really don't hit in practice because they want to go so fast that you can't. He said they average 36 snaps every 10-minute period. That's incredible.
And it's unheard of, right, for a flex bone / triple option team not to hit in practice, because literally your offense is based off physicality. So how do you work the reps in practice? He said, like you said, to your point, 36 plays in 10 minutes. They do it at a high pace. That way, when the game comes around, it seems like everything is slowed down for them.
Ross, the keeper, on 3rd and 1. He has a first down to the 29-yard line. Another 8 yards. And Harding moves the chains again inside 3 minutes to play.
Man, Nate, I've been talking about these slot backs. Watch Omar Sinclair lead block on this option play. He's the left up back. Watch this decleating block right here. Boom! Get you some! Nice physical run also by Tyler Ross to get that first down. But what a block. Actually, that was Josh Strickland, the fullback. What a physical lead block right there.
Strickland getting his chance as the 3rd dive back Harding has used in this game after, of course, the featured man De La Cruz and Andrew Miller, who was next. Here's Sheffield on the toss. Sinclair out in front through a good block, but Sheffield caught from behind and put on the ground by Biggs, who has taken out some frustration on Harding ball carriers on this drive.
Yeah, a little surprised they didn't hit him for that hip toss slam right there. But like you said, I think there's a little bit frustration by Biggs. He's actually made a few good run tackles this drive for this Bears defense.
2nd down at the 25. 428 rushing yards today for Harding, just upping that Division II leading average. The stand starting to empty of even the home fans getting ready to make the trip to Little Rock tonight for Harding Academy, playing for the state title. Ross goes down to the 20, maybe the 19, right around a first down. I think they're going to give it to him. And to that point, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the other local high school in this game that's had a great season, Hickory High, which is just about a mile from Lenoir-Rhyne, maybe not even, won the 3A North Carolina State Championship last night, so congratulations to Hickory as well.
Yeah, both of the high schools in the area for both of these teams having success today. Like I said, I believe the fans are starting to empty out, maybe get ready to head down to Little Rock to see this Harding Academy team go play for state today.
Making their travel plans to Dallas.
Little confetti out there on the field, huh?
Unfortunately, because of this kneel down and the one more to come, Harding will end up just under 500 total yards in this game. They hit 500 exactly on that Ross carry, but it takes nothing away from a dominating performance on both sides of the football for the Bisons, who just hung 55 points on one of the best defenses in Division II.
Yeah, complete team effort. We talked about this. We knew with this flex bone offense, they were going to lean heavily on this run game, right? It's almost kind of like Thanos, right? Inevitability. They are going to run the ball. Can you be disciplined enough to stop the run from Harding? Lenoir-Rhyne wasn't able to do that today. Big win for Coach Simmons and the rest of this Harding staff.
And Paul Simmons just dodged the water dump that was coming to him. But they won't dodge the students storming the field at First Security Stadium. Their Bisons moved to 14-0, and for the first time in school history, Harding will play for a Division II national title next Saturday in McKinney.
What a job by this coaching staff from Harding. Coach Wheaton, right? Coach Moe, Coach Simmons. And you just talked about it. He dodged that bucket. Looks like he could maybe still give us a few snaps at linebacker as quick as he moved. But congratulations to Harding going to Texas next week to play in a Division II championship game.